welcome. It is Friday. It is the 2022 version of July the 22nd. How's everybody doing? We're back at the Spurs Talk Show for a Friday night news fest. How's everybody doing? This is your Friday evening show with me, John Butler, and the team. They're backstage. We're going to get going. We got Rangers tomorrow. But we're also going to review whether Conte was greedy enough with his demands. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spurs Talk Show. It starts. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now, don't amp it up. Go win it! Let's go for the chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! He's won it! Yes, I won it! Oh my God! Oh my God! We did it! Yo, check this out. How's everybody doing? We're back Friday night, Friday afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Could be Saturday morning for some. Hope everyone is doing okay. We're going to be talking today about... We're not going to be saying the words thus far too many times. It might come out a few times. However, we do want to discuss, was Conte greedy enough? He asked for 6. He's got 6. I can't find a single Spurs fan that is happy with the 6 enough to think that the business is done. We got some news, views, and transfer clues, as always, to get through. Plus, we're going to be looking forward to tomorrow, the Rangers game. Spicy one. It's going to be interesting. First and foremost, if you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. My name is Sean Butler. You're at the Spurs Talk Show. Before we get going, before we bring in the two guys that are going to see us through the next, I'm going to say 90 minutes, but that's fingers crossed. You know what happens on this channel. It could be going until Saturday morning. But we're going to do our best to squeeze it out. Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to say that's not a no. That's a weird one. And we're going to be starting with the members of the Spurs Talk Show. Thank you so much to these guys. In order of synchronicity and chronologically from the Spurs Talk Show ponies. On your bike, Scott. Thank you so much for your support. And I offer the same gratitude towards Ben Kaufman, Amir Sada, Aaron Dove, Nick from Lazy 801, Cratch, we now know is Martin, Daniel Larson, Queen Ellie, Brian Daigle, Nigel Watson, OGX Low 1, who I now know is Aaron, and John N. All of those guys are in the WhatsApp group. So too are many of the puppies, the Spurs Talk Show puppies. And those guys are Bobby K, Marlon Green, V12, Shy FX, DB, Catman Jess, Derek Smith, George, Moondog, Mark Cousins, Chris Agomba, Brains McLeod, Hollywood Hotspur, Andy James 63, Wayne Bonner, The Crispy Cockerel, Elliot Walsh, Jack Kanicki, Val Taylor, Colin from Talk and Ball, Brian Timlin, DMT85, R Green 216. Listen to the audacity of those numbers in their names. Carl Simpson, Youngie Hong, Tom Marcannon, Stuart 727, another audacious one, Tottenham Josh, and Tony Rodriguez, and one more. It was supposed to be Dermatron from what used to be known as Tottenham Tantrum Gold, then became Tottenham Gold, and now is THFC Till I Die. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much to all of you guys for your support of the show. If anyone out there does want to become a member, you can find the link in the top of the screen at the comments, and also you can find it in the community page. Hit the join button. There's two options. You can become a puppy or a pony. The pony will get other benefits that the puppies don't, but each and every one of you will get access to two things specifically. One of them is access to the WhatsApp group if you want to come and join the conversation offline. And the second thing is you'll get first dibs on coming in to the show for the fan shows that are going to start tomorrow. Again, they're going to be open tomorrow after the Rangers game. And then all throughout the season, we're going to be doing specific fan phoning shows so you can get everything off your mind about whatever's happening with Tottenham. Thank you to everyone who's coming. Before we get into the comments and see who's arrived, there's 70 of you already linking up with us this evening. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification bell. It's important because this channel goes live impromptu. We don't schedule. We're not planned. We're not organized. I send out a text message to a couple of people, especially the two people below, and they say, yes, they're available, or no, they're not available. And if they are available, we go live within the hour. And that's what's happened right now. And that's what is usually the case. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who those two people are. First and foremost, let's go, because I can hear someone at the door. Is there a doorbell? Is there a doorbell? Of course, there's a doorbell. Where's the doorbell? That was the doorbell. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring him in two at the same time. We're not going to fuck around. We're going to carry on and see what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the man who is always the audacious one, the Captain Audacious, we're going to call him, considering how many people have got the numbers in there now. You know him as Cuban99. How you doing, Coov?
Good here, thanks, Sean. Few things to talk through, but not a lot now, is there? Just waiting for match day, really.
100%, mate, 100%. And right behind him at the door, bringing in the beers, bringing in the cooler and the keg. It's my man. He's got his name today is Endon Barry. How you doing, How you doing, Bazza? You okay, mate?
I'm good, mate. You? Good to be here.
Good. Let me get rid of this this speaker overlay thing. Doesn't work with three people. It works with 4 or 5 or 6, but not, or 2, but not 3. It's very disappointing. How you doing, Bazza? You good, mate? What's cracking? How was your day?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm just getting ready. You know, Rangers tomorrow, Roma next week, and then the season is with us. So yeah, we can.
2 weeks, right? Is it 2 weeks tomorrow? Is it 2 weeks tomorrow or 3 weeks tomorrow? 2 weeks tomorrow.
Be back at that beautiful stadium with the beautiful people and watching us smash Southampton.
Yeah, you were pitching me a ticket this morning, weren't you, or this afternoon? Yeah.
I was. I've got some more. Since then, mate. Don't worry. Oh, Del boy.
You know what, mate? This is probably a good time to put it out there. Do you want me to present you as the guy to find tickets from to the audience, or is that something we should talk about before we make that official? Because you are the ticket man, aren't you?
Ticket man.
You are the guy who makes things happen. You know, when it comes to tickets. So.
Yeah, I am. Look, if people can reach out to Sean, and then if they do need tickets, then I can get you tickets for the games. So rather than have a whole stream of there's a ticket, what have you got a ticket for? If you want to reach out to Sean, then and Sean can reach out to me, and then I can hopefully make it happened.
He's not the audacious
So-
one. He's the dream
So,
maker.
so Jim will fix it of the Tottenham world.
No, I definitely don't want to be.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. just don't like hang around Barry when he's near, like, I don't know, a children's home or something. That's a bit weird one. Let's get away from that conversation. It's good to see you, Baz. It's good to see you, Kubi Groove. Before we get going on it, boys, let me just say hello to a few people in the comments, guys. I did want to call this one out quickly. Not this one, sorry. I haven't got it up there. I'm going to bring it up in a minute. If you do want to join the Fantasy League team, let me get it up. I forgot to say it.
Yeah.
We've got 21 people currently entered into the Spurs Talk Show Fantasy Premier League team. The link is there. The code is AF61M7. It's free to enter into our league. You got to be joined before the start of the season, so you have 2 weeks. And if you play with us, then the winner of the league gets. I'm going to buy someone, whoever wins it, a Tottenham shirt of their choice, of their size, their flavour, and with any name or number they want on the back. So that's the prize for taking part. It'd be cool to have as many people as possible. You have 2 weeks to get it in before the season starts. AF61M7. Right, in terms of the comments, let's see who's here. We got Eugene's in the house saying hi, big up. Hi, mate. Hi, everyone. Big up, everyone. Back Conte. We're going to talk about whether he has been backed enough to satisfy him or to satisfy the millions of Spurs fans around the world. We've also got Dermatron giving a little super sticker. I can't see the super. Maybe I can do it if I get it up on the YouTube channel. 1 second, mate. What is it?
I don't think it is.
Oh, it's a fox that's doing a big giant smile. Really appreciate that, Dermatron, my man. Everyone who hasn't, like I said at the start, he has changed his channel name from Tottenham Gold to TFC Till I Die. So please get over there and subscribe to that channel as they're trying to. They're basically relaunching. I think 4 of them or 5 of them: Phil, Dermot, Izhan, Mark, and Ellie. Sorry, of course, and Ellie. There you go. Sorry, my mum went blank there for a second. The five, fabulous 5. Good to see you, Dermatron, man. Thank you for the sticker, man. Really appreciate that. Really means the world to me. Appreciate it. John N, one of the latest members. Afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, John. Hope you're doing well, my man. Dan N's also in the house. 2 N's don't make a right. Good to see you, my man. THFC is also here. THFC Brown, big up, Sean. Need a bit of Spurs chat. Well, hopefully we can help you out with that this evening. Paul Holden's here as well, as is Derek Smith. What's happening, Del Boy? Good to see you, my man. Cooper from MS Gulf Coast Spurs. Kick our Sean. You're getting me through until I can leave the office early. Nice one, man. Love that. Hope the weather's nice over there in the Gulf Coast. I'm going to star these. Listen, guys, what we are going to do today, we're going to get through whatever the news is. We're going to talk as a group. But if you do have questions, I do think there's probably going to be a little bit of time for us. If you do want to get us to have conversation points, you can get them in. And if there's any good questions, you can do it via the super chat, or you can just do it via the normal chat. And if we see them and bring them up, if I don't bring them up necessarily immediately, I will star them and come back to them later on. So we'll have a decent audience interaction today. Derek Smith in the house. My God, intro. Was it too loud? Was it too loud again, or was it okay? I think I haven't seen the one.
It was fine.
Nice. We're trying to figure out how to get the volume correct on it. Cratch is in the house, as is Chris Welsh. Good to see you. As is El Sayed and Darius. I am good thus far, my man. I'm good thus far. John's in the house. Philip, Claude, Nigel Watson. What's happening? Leslie Crawford, Eddie Ryan. We got a new member, Philo, 123 coins. Welcome to the team, my man. Love it, bro. If you head yourself, if you want to join the WhatsApp group, get over to the community section on the Spurs Talk Show channel, and you'll see my telephone number embedded into the community section. Then just reach out to me, tell me who you are, remind me who, say your name, and I'll bring you into the group. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. It means the world, and I can't wait to meet you on the phone-in shows super soon. Who else we've got? Jam's in the house. Good evening, Jam. He's saying hello to Kuba, not to anybody else. Who else we've got? We got Sar89. He says he wants tickets. Well, get in touch, my man. But send me my email address is in the community section as well. I think somewhere. Reach out to me if you want, and I'll put you in touch with old Del Boy on the screen right here. Who else we got? Scott M's here. Barry's awake on the stream. It's a miracle. Ashraf's in the house. Do you think Zaniolo deal might get concluded before we play Roma? Let me star that one. It's a good one. Lee from the lanes here. Adam William Cahill says he needs. Listen, mate, you can make a lot of money out of this one, Del Boy.
I'm not. Look.
I know he doesn't make money out of it. He doesn't make money out of it.
I do it to help people go and watch the games.
100%. Yeah, I was only joking.
You know.
He's never made a bean out of it. He does it to help people, and it's a wonderful role that he plays. He helped me out last season, for what it's worth. I want to call this out. Last season, he found himself the greatest ticket for the Tottenham Arsenal North London derby, and he gave it to me at face value before he even sorted himself out with a ticket. And I was literally 3 seats away from the Arsenal fans. You can go into the previous videos and find the watch long the vlog, the game day vlog. And Nick gave me that ticket rather than taking it for himself. So absolute legend for doing that. And so it's important to know he doesn't make money out of this thing. He's just doing it to help people to get to the games. Foggy's in the house. What's happening? So is Absolute Bore. So is Debo Duta. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you, Adam, as well. By the way, I didn't say hello. Bob's in the house. Lukey's in the house. Wolves, how you doing, bro? Good to see you. Joseph Monaghan. Aaron Dove's here as well. And as is Shem Tan. Big up the three of you guys. Haven't seen you before, Shem. Good to see you, my man. Will Stewart's in the house. What's happening, Willie boy? By the way, Will, you got a hell of a lot of good feedback for your take on the money, the Daniel Levy money and all that stuff from the last show we did. I had a lot of people reach out to me saying that you were on fire on that show. So well done, bro. John, Hottie Spurs as well is here. Where's Ranjit Torino? He's here. And Emir Sada's in the house as well. What is happening? All right, guys, that's the quickest, I think, 17 minutes, the quickest time I've ever done to get through this. Let's get down to it. Let's stop messing around. The start of the show, the chapter, the title of the show, guys, is, as I said at the start, let's go back to February. I had the quotes up earlier, but I can't be bothered. I think everyone can remember. At one point when we started to lose a couple of games after the January window, Conte said we were weaker after the window. Then everyone was like, what do you mean? Or what does that mean? Then he came out and clarified that he said, well, we're stronger with the players we signed, but we're weaker numerically. Right, we got rid of 4. We only brought 2 in, and then after that, he said he needs, or at least I'm not sure if he actually ever said it, but at least it was like common knowledge that he said he wanted 6 signings. He's got 6 signings. I can't find a single Tottenham Hotspur fan that is satisfied yet. Everyone is like, it's good, it's been good, but we're not done. Do you think he's happy enough to get going with where we are, or did he not ask for enough? Should he have asked for 8 signings, 9 signings? Coover, I'll come to you first, bro. How do you feel about it?
It's difficult to know what he really wants, isn't it? You have to go on the face value of the comments. Would those 6 players have included a reserve goalkeeper? I wouldn't have thought that would be a sort of big breaking news item, would you? I don't know. Of course, he's gonna want more. Of course, we want more. Every single manager in the game wants more than what they've got. They always want at least one more player. I think Alex Ferguson used to say this as well. All managers want an extra player. I mean, Mourinho said it as well, actually. Question is, has he got the players he's happy with, or because it's the director of football system, he would have said the type of player he wants. Paratici would have gone out, identified a few, and come out with a list saying, what can we work with? There's these available. We would have gone to Levy. How much money's available? So it's a bit more complicated with the director of football equation in there. But
yeah,
there's got to be compromises, hasn't there? If you're doing that, so the likes of Jed Spence, is that going to be somebody that Conte would have gone out and said, yeah, I want him? I doubt it. And it does seem like it was the club that was driving that deal. But Conte seems happy with it, so we'll just have to wait and see. Unfortunately, I don't think you can really read too much into it, except for if Conte walks away after a bust-up, then he wasn't happy with it. That's the only way you can really tell. If he's staying, he must be content with what we've done. Whether it meets every sort of criteria he wanted, I very much doubt it. I still feel we're weak in the wing-back department, because it's such a crucial part of his system. And really, I look at it as just Perisic and then possibly Spence that are really offering the anything like what he wants.
Perisic is the only real name that's improved in those spots.
Yeah, I think Spence might turn out to be a brilliant signing. But we just don't know. That's the short answer on that. So it's a case of wait and see, because if Conte really wants to be pushing for titles, he's not going to be able to do it with just the one wing back in either side of the pitch. He's going to need some quality backup for that as well, and rotation. Perhaps that marquee forward signing we're all crying out for, whether it's James Maddison or whether it's more sort of conventional, sort of wide attacker, someone like that can alternate with Kulusevski. Who knows? Just that little bit of spark somewhere. And centre backs, of course. Just bringing in one on loan suggests to me that we might be trying to hang on for a bigger name signing, but we've got somebody in just to cover the basics while we're waiting for it. Could be an interesting last few weeks to the transfer window. For me, and I think a lot of other people in the same boat, it'll be really disappointing if this turns out to be the last transfer we've done is Jed Spence. Because if this is an opportunity to really push ourselves into that leading pack in the Premier title race, which is going to be a hell of a job as it is. But if you leave yourself
Chelsea making moves now as well. They just basically confirmed Kunde, right? They're doing bits and pieces. Arsenal doing bits. Even West Ham today apparently put in an official bid that hasn't been immediately turned down for one of the guys that we were looking at and we wanted all summer. Or Kostic, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing angry if they get him and we haven't even bid.
Yeah,
because with the versatility of Perisic, just getting Kostic in anyway, that's that flank totally covered. And then we're talking about the likes of Undercar, which we're linked with, plays for Frankfurt as well. Used to playing alongside Kostic, covers that left side of the centre of defence again. Yeah, we've got Longley in. Longley perhaps can even cover the centre a little bit if needed. He's not great in the air, but he's a better player than Dyer is, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. I think we're short of what Conte wants, but we're doing some of it. I think he's sort of okay at it. Thus far, 5 out of 10 for Conte.
we're not doing the thus far tonight. But what I do want to kind of posit to you, Nick, and it's great take so far, Coop. What I do want to ask you, Nick, is so there was 2 kind of stipulations that Conte wanted, right? He wanted 6 in, and he wanted them done, or as many as he could, whatever, before pre-season started. And I think Spence obviously wasn't necessarily one of the 6 that he wanted anyway, from what we've seen. So we got 5 done before pre-season started. We didn't quite manage to get Longley done in time with his work permits and things. But like, are we? I don't know. Like, how do you think Conte should be feeling right now, and how should Tottenham fans be feeling? He's kind of been given what he asked for, but maybe he didn't ask for enough.
Yeah, so I think, look, if we go back to last summer, we didn't have a manager, we hadn't signed any players, and we fast forward 12 months, we've signed 6 players, and we have probably one of the best managers in the world, right? So we need to just not go crazy and lose our minds over, everything that's gone on. I think the whole Jed Spence thing was they kept him to the 6th one because all the tweets, right? The marketing department just wanted it because of that. So that can be the only reason in my mind. Like, Levy's probably putting out there going saying, Steve Gibson, I'm having an argument with you. Let's throw that to the press. Let's say it's not happening. Then Longley's announced. Then, okay, we can announce Jed Spence because we got all this material that we can.
What they could have done was if they signed him and he had like COVID or something, and they signed him a little bit earlier, they could have called it out as like Sick Spence rather than 6 Spence. They could have played with it a little bit differently there, but it couldn't fit.
I think we signed him really cheap and called it Sixpence.
Yeah, nice.
But I think we're in a new kind of situation. We finished the season so strongly. I don't care what anyone says. Arsenal bottled it or whatever. We finished. We were the best. We were the 3rd best side since January in the league, and I think we've almost, as Tottenham fans, we it's kind of feast or famine, right? And it's a roller coaster. So the moment we do well, we're going, oh my God, this is happening, that's happening. The moment we lose a game, we're like, it's just like the end of the world. And I think we need to find that balance, right? And I think we just need to stay patient. If Conte wasn't happy, Conte wouldn't be there. I still think that there is 2, possibly 3 more signings that are going to come in. We do need
3 more in. You think 3 more in, do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
So at least 2 to 3.
Let me guess. Like you're saying, centre back, a central midfielder, and then hopefully on the wing back. Is that basically what round it off? Yeah.
Yeah. That would just round it off, because there's talk of Emerson being let go, Matt Dodsey being let go. So you can't just have, you can't have just Spence, right? And I think there's a lot of moves in Europe that need to happen. Barcelona have found a load of money down the back of the sofa.
What they've done is ridiculous, though. They literally have just sold their entire. It's almost like a decent analogy of, you could argue, like the American economy, like the British economy. Like there's so much, they're in such dire straits. The only way that they can possibly keep kicking the can down the road to even exist as an entity is to like print money in the kind of country version, but in their version, they've sold now like 25-30% of their entire TV revenues for the next 25 years. Like, it's shit or bust for Barcelona. If they for whatever reason don't, not that this is a Barcelona stream, but if they don't continue to make Champions League, continues to go deep in it with the money that they're spending now, they're like, it looks woeful for them.
And this is where it comes to, where I think that with the Inter Milan piece and the Bastoni, and I know other people have spoken about it, but I still think that there's potentially something to do with something's going to happen with Bastoni. I don't know what. Obviously, there's the talk of Maddison, and if you add another right wing back to that, then it could be or another left wing back, because we know Perisic can play on the right. So maybe Perisic is for the right with Spence and Cess and one other on the left. I don't know. So look, I think we just need to trust that Paratici's got to be up to something, right? He's not just in Italy doing nothing. Hopefully he's finding another couple of rejects like Kulusevski and Bentancur. And then we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think we just need to not sit there and go, because this is the end of the world, right? Yes, you could argue about Richarlison and where he plays at Everton. Yes, you could argue about Spence. You probably can't argue. Longley you could probably have that argument about as well. But look, the Conte and Paratici and the club wouldn't have done the stuff that they've done if they didn't mean business. So I think it's exciting, right? We know that Chelsea have made, they've signed Sterling. They've signed, look like obviously everything's done with Kundi. They've signed Koulibaly. So that's good, right? But, we've done more. We need to do more, but it's a start. And that's what I think we need to remember. We can't expect 12 players to come in and our problems to be solved. But the season is going to be interesting. It's got the World Cup in the middle. And I still think that we will be genuinely there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
Okay. Well, let me take this moment then just to talk a little bit. It's an interesting thing. We were talking about what's Paratici up to out there. There might be 1 or 2 other people that are about to join, because there's a couple of people that have reached out to me. I think it would be an exciting little quad or five ball to play with here. AC Milan. Paul Holden here saying AC Milan are going after Indica now. Right. We'll stick with this concept, and also I think Will Stewart saying that the Hammers are going after Indica and Kostic. So it's an interesting. We talked a little about. We want to have a left, hopefully another wing back, right? And if that's Kostic, I'd be over the moon. I think that then gives us options. We could then force Doherty to stay on the right, because I think he's far better on the right. For me personally, I think he's absolutely awful on the left hand side. Stick him on the right, or you could even have, like you say, Nick, Perisic going over there. But then also talking about what's Paratici up to. There is news out, and we'll come to it a bit later on, that he's out there. He's trying to get the Brian Hill deal done. He's probably trying to get Tanganga to Milan. So I don't know if AC Milan are going after Indica and Tanganga, but certainly, there's lots of complications to us getting rid of Tanganga. I'm not really sure how I'm going to ask a question based on what I've just said. I'll come to you, Kuv. Do you...
Cheers.
Yeah, let me figure out a way to find a question out of what I've just said. But do you think that who is the most likely, if there is another signing coming in, do you think it's dependent on Paratici getting rid of Tanganga or Brian Hill? Do you think that the first step in the stone is one of those guys getting, his trip to Italy has to generate some kind of outgoing before we can focus on an incoming? And if so, who is the next cab off the rank?
I do think there is some sort of link, some sort of synergy between outgoings and incoming from Italy at the moment. And the news that Milan are after Indica as well, was it? Is it Inter after him, or was it AC Milan?
AC Milan.
Oh, AC Milan after him. That's
what
different.
Someone is saying here.
I was going to say, if it was Inter after him, then I'd say Bastoni does look like he's on the move. But yeah, it's this merry-go-round there, isn't there? There's as we were saying before the transfer window started, as soon as one thing starts happening there, it's going to lead to multiple goings on. Difficult to read it at the moment, but I do believe we are after signing somebody from Italy at the moment. It's not just looking to shove players out the door. There's got to be more to it, because we're so close to having an absolutely brilliant window, and to let it go at the death and just settle in for trying to solidify fourth place instead of pushing much higher, that'll be such a criminal shame. I can't believe Conte would be sitting back and saying it's all okay. I've got to believe Paratici is doing a lot more than just trying to loan out some players while he's over there.
Yeah.
So let's see what it is. Perhaps it could be a last ditch sort of De Vrij move, somebody like that. That would be a sensible
I love him.
one.
That for me, I've got so much confidence in him transitioning to the Premier League. I think he'd be absolute superstar, and he's so cheap. 15 million. He's 31.
Yeah,
whatever. He's not going to be
perfect in sense, doesn't it?
Makes so much sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact is that Skriniar, I'm not going to spoil it, because Skriniar's price has gone up after what happened with Bremer. So we'll talk about that later on. Sorry, Coop, I didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on.
Yeah, well, that's another name that comes up, isn't it, Skriniar? So yeah, fair play. Zaniolo's name keeps getting mentioned recently as well. That would fit the incredibly exciting attacking player. I'd take a risk on him if the price wasn't that much. If we're talking 60 million, you'd look at his injury record and think that's a hell of a risk. But
it has been touted at sort of between 50 and 60 as the price, which for me,
yeah, it's dodgy. Although he did manage last season without injury. Injury-free last season though, so that's quite relevant.
Yeah, but he's at this ace that the injuries that he had. I think I was listening to Henry Wright earlier. I didn't know this, but the two injuries that kept him out, I think they were ACL injuries.
Yeah.
Both times.
Yeah, on either leg.
But then again,
really
managed the full season last season, so perhaps he is over it. Yeah, it's kind of a worry, but do we need to worry about the money, or is that really just say, that's for the chairman to worry about?
It's not about it's not about them wondering about the money or worrying about the money, because, like you say, none of us are accountants, and they'll figure it out. If they can afford it, they'll do it. But for me, whatever the budget is, and whatever there's an opportunity cost, right? There was, whether you spent 60 million on Richarlison or 100 million or 20 million. If Conte wanted him, you could have the take of it doesn't matter, right? We're not accountants, but whatever it was, we have 60 million quid less to spend on somebody else, having spent that on him. And the same goes for if you were to go and drop 60 on a Zaniolo or whoever else. It means that there's another 60 million less that you can't spend on other positions that are more.
If we're talking about players going out the door as well, though, then we've got enough money left to get a couple of quite high quality players in. So I don't think it's really an issue. It's just a question of who is going to be available, who's desperate to sell, and the finger always keeps pointing back at Inter at the moment, because we know they definitely have to offload some players this summer. Else they're in real trouble, possibly in even more trouble after their chairman got sued again, wasn't it? So yeah, there's definitely business to be done there. Whether it's the likes of De Vrij and sort of fairly modest outlay for what's a great player and will be a superb fit for us, or whether we're pushing the boat out and still going for Bastoni, that's a new one. Or perhaps even a Barella. I mean, I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. We know Conte would love that sort of player, the hard-working, sort of dog of war in the midfield who's a bit naughty. He's puts himself around a bit or a lot, and he would fit in like a glove for the system Conte likes.
Yeah. Certainly, what I would say, certainly, given the Skriniar news, which we are going to talk about, given the Bremer news, which he went to Juve, it makes it less likely that they're going to sell a centre back if they didn't have their first choice to bring it in. If they still need to raise funds, then it could increase the likelihood of somebody else going, like a Martinez or like a Barella. And talking about people that get around a bit, before I come to you, Nick, there's somebody at the door. Who can it be? It's a man who gets around a lot. Welcome to the show, everybody. Mr. Brian Daigle. How you doing, brother?
What's up, people? I'm all good, and I have to say, Undon Barry, that is fucking genius.
That's Aaron. That's Aaron Dove again. So I have to give him.
Aaron started again. The whole Nick Barry, or Nick, he started the whole. I can't remember Barry. Yeah, Barry, and then it just completely went on from there. But yeah, Undon Barry is a big one, and big up to everyone in the chat, and Coover and Sean, obviously.
Before we come to you, Brian, we're going to come to Nick. But before we come to either of those, my man Wolves, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, hit the likes, guys. And I'm about to say the same thing. He took the words out of my mouth. There's only 61 likes. There's 185 people or so watching on YouTube. Another 20 or more elsewhere. Can we try to get to 100 before before 6 o'clock? Can we try and get that up to 100? It'd be great if we could. Mean the world to me, guys. It helps the algorithm. It helps the other people find the show that you've already found. So if you could hit the like, and thank you so much, Wolves, man. It means the absolute world for me. And I'm sorry to hear about your chat, your message, the message you put out earlier on that you've only got one player in so far. I forget who it was. I'm going to try and find it back in the thing. It was quite
someone from Burnley, wasn't it?
Burnley player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all that's happening at Wolves right now? Is it? Wow.
Yeah. I'll be worried if I was him as well.
How the things have changed that we bought 6 and Wolves have bought 1.
Yeah. It's
how
true.
The tide has turned?
Wolves usually go after about half of Portugal, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, amazing. Anyway, Wolves, thank you so much, man. And obviously wishing you guys the best for the season. I think you'll be fine because judging by what I've seen of Everton, they are absolutely, unless something drastically changes, they're a dead rubber. And I think that at least 2 of the 3 clubs that have come up will probably go straight back down again. So I don't think you'll be under too much stress. Wolves, my man, someone's telling me there's a bot. There's a bot, Sean. 523.
I've got rid of it.
Ah, nice. Because you're a moderator, aren't you?
I am indeed, sir. You gave me that honour.
I did. Well, thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate the support. Nick, let me come to you, my man. Same question I asked Couve. Paratici out there, we haven't seen much of Paratici for the last 3 weeks, really. I don't know if he was involved in the. I don't think he. Actually, sorry, I was telling a lie. He was involved in the Bergwijn disposal, and Levy wasn't happy with the terms. But since then, apart from that, there hasn't been much coming out of Paratici for a little while now. What are your thoughts? What's going to happen with Paratici's trip to Italy?
Yeah, so I think there's obviously there's a talk of Tanganga to Milan. There's talk today, I think, of Sarr to Milan. If we could just change those 2 maybe and put Ndombele to Milan, that would be a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's obviously there's going to be something in the lineup, and someone said in the comments earlier about Milan's goalie as well to potentially replace Lloris at the end of the season. So yeah, well, I think there's things that are going to come out, and like the Basuma deal, right? We didn't see it coming, so there's going to be another one. There's going to be another.
Is that desperation though, mate? Is that just like when people start to go, oh, there's going to be someone that we haven't heard of? Is that because there's just no noise and people are clinging on to hope that if we haven't heard anything, then the only thing we've got left to hope for is that there's a rabbit being pulled out of a hat? somewhere later on.
Yeah, potentially. It could be just us hoping and sitting there and going, well, there's a couple more coming. Paratici's in Italy. Let's make up this narrative that he's cooking, and then we'll get someone that literally is absolute pony on the last day of the season, and that'll just be the final bit of business, But he's got to be. Obviously, there's the Tanganga thing is a strange one because of not just the homegrown quota, but for his development as well. So Milan have obviously seen something. I really like Tanganga. I think he just needs some game time. But I think he needs game time in the Premier League. Someone like a Forest or somewhere like that, he could do really well. But yeah, I think we just need to wait and see. Let's not judge it. Let's not try and look too into it. Let's not try and make up things to say of what he's doing, and then let's just wait and see, and then hopefully we'll be pleasantly surprised, or we won't be, and then we'll start moaning about it again.
Okay. A lot of people here saying, going to come to you, Brian.
Yep.
I'll let you go with the first question around what you think about Paratici's trip to Italy. But also, just for what it's worth, we haven't really spoken about it on this channel. I'm not sure if other Tottenham channels have, but there's a lot of interest suddenly that Manchester United are in for Hakimi. And it's not like there's no smoke without fire. There's a little bit of noise coming, or quite a lot of noise coming out of Man United that they might be putting in a bid for Hakimi. If they can, surely we should. And surely we can offer him more things that he would want. Maybe the money thing might be a little bit difficult to compete with, but everything else, what are your thoughts? But also, sorry, before you come to that, you can start with that, or you can go to the...
Well, first of all, I just answer Wolves Fees channel question. Tottenham on tour weren't going live tonight. My wife is taking me out. It was our anniversary and my birthday a month ago, and I was in England, so we postponed it for a month. So I'm going out on a surprise. I've got no idea where I'm going tonight. I've just been told to dress up smart. We're out, so there's definitely no Tottenham on tour tonight. So yeah, but thanks for your support as always, buddy. Yeah, listen. When it comes to Hakimi, if we don't go for him, if he's available, to me it shows where we're at as a club. Yes, we've gone and bought 5-6 players, and yes, they've added something to the team. But there is no doubt when a player like Hakimi comes available, and in that position with Jed Spence, we'll have to wait and see. Doherty and Emerson, we're underwhelmed. When someone like him comes available, do you remember when we signed Bale and Reguilon? It was like, we're not going for a left back. We're not going for a left back. Only if Reguilon becomes available. He became available. We got him. If someone of the stature and quality of Hakimi becomes available, who has also played under Conte, and you don't go for him, listen, if we go for him and United go for him and he chooses United because of the size of the club, there's nothing you can do if the player chooses that. Yeah. But if he's available and we don't make an attempt and you want to get the best of the best, then that will speak volumes for me. It will speak absolute volumes of where we are. I think when players like that become available, especially when we've got this money we all know about, those players don't come about very often. And when you're in the position we are now with Champions League football, Conte, the rebuild, you have to go for this player. You have to. So that's my views on Hakimi. When it comes to Paratici, do you know what? With this man, even when he's in it, do you know what? No matter what he does, we're all questioning what he's doing. He's that much of a busybody and here, there, and everywhere. That is he on holiday? Is he wheeling and dealing? He's always wheeling and dealing on his holidays. There's something. I've said it for a few weeks now. I actually think there's a load of smoke screens coming up. Could Zaniolo and Maddison be two of them? Maybe, because I think there is something very, very big in the works going on behind the scenes.
There's still a marquee name to come in, you think?
Yeah, like we've said when I've been on your show as well. When we say marquee as well, that doesn't just mean value.
Yeah.
That means like if a player,
Yeah,
it could be a player that's last year in his contract, like Basuma, or a player that a club need to get rid of, like a Bastoni. I think there is something huge going on under the radar, and these smoke screens are coming out left, right, and centre. Because if you look at it, this is what happened with Sam Johnston and Fraser Foster. It's what happened with Eriksson and Basuma. Perisic, we didn't know a lot about. The only ones we really knew that were coming, just a matter of time, was really Richarlison and Spence. Really, they were rumoured, and there's no real smoke. All right, you can say Rafinha and whatever, But I genuinely think he's gone under the radar because he is working on something, and they want to keep it as close as. But after what happened with Willian, after what happened with Bergkamp and all these things, I think there's something very, very big going on behind the scenes. I really do.
All right, I'm going to start this one because I actually had a dream last night that Spurs signed Brozovic, which is, I just remembered it now. Very, very bizarre that Will mentioned it. So I'm going to come back to that one. But before I come back to Cooper, I want to stay with you, Brian, for a second because I wanted to get your point on the initial question that we asked when we first started, which was, I remember. So Conte wanted 6, right? We've given him 6, or the club's given him 6. I remember you saying, and this was, you. With your Levy, your take saying, he wants 6, but I'll be happy with 4.
Yep.
You could pick 4 of the 6 and say that they're all. I don't know which 4 you want to pick: Richarlison, Perisic, Basuma, and Longley. I don't know if they're the 4 that whet your appetite as much as the other 2. I don't know, but first of all, are you happy that you said you wanted 4 of the 6? We've got 6.
Yeah.
But we're not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. None of us are satisfied. We still know there's gaps. So did Conte kind of demand too few signings, or how do you feel about this? Looking back on it now, did he not ask for as much as he could have done or should have done?
Sure. This is the way I look at it. I look at this in 2 parts. I look at it in Conte. Like I said to you, I said in all the channels I went on to, what I would deem a success, and this was before the money got announced that we had. That I was saying is that he kept saying this number 6, and for him getting 4, like you said, that number 4, anything that was above 50%, based on what Levy's currently done for managers before.
Yeah. It was
I would deem a success that Levy's listened and he's got players in, and and let's face it, he's done it before pre-season or a majority, which again is something brand new.
Yeah.
Am I happy with the overall quality? No, not really. Yes, I'm happy with Richarlison. I think they'll be good players, but when we've got
who's not of a quality that you're not, who are you unsatisfied with?
You know what it is. No, you know what it is. It's like I said. You mentioned that name, Hakimi.
Yeah,
that's a flagship, right? If you look at it,
and best right back in the world, arguably,
exactly.
Or one of them.
If you
talk
talk to all
the
big teams, like the big teams that could generally afford him, he's the kind of man. He's the kind of player that if he becomes available, they go and make it happen. Mm-hmm. Whether they've got cover in there, they're like, okay, one of the best players in this position in the world is available. We need to add this to my team to make it stronger.
Yeah,
and this is where I think, like we said, like Longley, a great or could be a great player. We don't know. Like you've done a very, very deep analysis of him and everything. And I love what I'm hearing about. Obviously,
well, yeah. I'm just quickly. I don't want to be attached to that. Like, all I was ever doing, like, if Longley turned out to be a shit show, I don't want half the community to come back at me and say, "Sure, the guy's a fucking lead balloon."
The part I'm trying to get at with you is you mentioned, which I didn't really know, so I'm going to be honest, I didn't know a lot about him at Sevilla, but I've done my research now.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that obviously he played in the back 3 at Seville, but a back 4
at Barca.
In Barca.
So I think he played in a back 3 in the first 6 months of Barca when he was under the previous manager. But since then, he's played in the back 4. Yeah. So
you look at him and say, right, he's coming and he's going to be utilised in the position that he's played best at in his career. Would I rather Bastoni? Of course I would. But Bastoni doesn't want to come at the moment. I think this is changing, and I honestly think this deal is back on with Bastoni. But when these players become available, there have been players out there that I'm not going to name, but there are players like Milinkovic-Savic. That's a signing in a position that we need. And if you sign him, it's like wow,
yeah,
wow. That's a player and a half, and it's not just what it does for us. The Premier League stat, like. Look at when Man City signed Haaland, and the whole world is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You're putting him in that team?
Yeah.
That's what I want to see from us.
Okay.
All the signings we've made, Perisic is a great sign. I still say Perisic is our best signing for what he's done, what he'll bring.
He's your best signing of the summer for you.
Forget the value. I think what he'll bring and teach Sessegnon and all the youth around him that are at the training ground, the competitions he's won, the World Cup finals he's been to, the stats that he puts out, the way he's kept himself in the condition he has, this is a huge signing. The Conte factor is huge in it. Richarlison, I think, is going to be a very, very good sign. I think if we were having this stream now next season, I think we'll all be saying, "Oh my God, what a player, what a signing, what a bargain we got for him." But
interesting you say that. See, I disagree, but I hope I'm wrong. But I disagree.
But you know what I mean? If we had signed, I'm just going to say a striker right now. But I'm not saying if we'd got to do Dusan Vlahovic or someone of that ilk, people would have gone, "Holy shit!" You know what I mean? There's the players we brought in have shown in the Premier League they can do it, but they look good for us or for some of us, but they're not one of those signings where the whole Premier League go, "Holy shit!" Like a Haaland, like when Liverpool bought Nunes. Like Nunes has scored. I know it's a friendly, but scored 4 goals.
4 goals.
Those kind of say, and you got to remember they got rid of Mane, or I think he was in before Mane, or just they might have just it was like you're out, he's in, or whatever. They dealt with it quick and bring the players in of a stature, and I don't think we've hit that stature. Am I happy that we've bought people early? 100%. Am I happy Conte's got the numbers that he wanted? Absolutely. Am I disappointed that we haven't bought those signings I just mentioned where it's like, holy shit, now we're talking? Yes, I am disappointed.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come back to that because I actually do want to press you a little bit more on who those players are and what it's going to take for us to get them. But before I do that, I want to come back to Kuv and welcome back, Nick. Did you everything okay with work?
Yeah.
Work. You gotta work.
The question I want to ask you, Kuv, I'm gonna shift it towards where Brian's taken it, right? So, and I'm still gonna hang off on the news thing, but why do you think it is that Tottenham, like, if Manchester United are interested in Hakimi and Tottenham put in a bid for them, like, I mean, there is news out today, someone explaining why Christian Eriksen didn't. You know what? I am going to bring it out to make the question make it make sense, right? So Christian Eriksen, essentially, I forget the guy's name now. One of the top sort of in the nose at Tottenham Hotspur came out and said that he found out the reason why Christian Eriksen turned us down and why it didn't work out at Tottenham. And essentially, we had one conversation. Paratici had one conversation with his agent, and it was a combination of wanting too much money, guarantees of game time, and for too long a period of a contract, right? And that Tottenham went on all three. We're way off. Like, we had no interest in signing you on a 4-year deal. We have no interest in paying you that much money, and we're never going to be able to get. And the reason why we're not going to pay you that much money is because we don't think we're going to play you as much as you want to be played. So you add A, B, and C up, and you get, no interest. Manchester United obviously can make that happen for him, but Tottenham can't. Does the same problem exist with somebody like a Milinkovic-Savic? Does the same problem potentially exist with someone like a James Maddison? Anybody? Like, we all agree that we need someone in the creative midfielder role. We definitely need a centre back, and we need maybe some more help in the wing back roles. But just thinking specifically about that creative midfielder, do you think we are going to struggle to convince anybody who is of that ilk to come to Tottenham if we can't guarantee them enough game time because the formation is the formation?
I don't think we have to worry about it if it's somebody like Milinkovic-Savic. He's just world class. He's going to get in the side no matter what. The real question is, are we going to put that much faith in the team being altered, the system of play being altered that much to have the attacking midfielder like that? Or are we going to put more of a concentrate on the forwards, the 3 forwards we do have, and then getting the wing backs correct, because we have got a solid base behind it in the centre of midfield now to work from. So are the flanks more of an option? For me, Eriksen, he's light years behind Milinkovic-Savic. Eriksen is a player that, although he did well for us for several years and loved watching the way we were playing at that point, he did go missing in big games, and he regularly did that. It wasn't just Kane that didn't turn up that people always bring up. Eriksen was the same. He did struggle unlocking some of those teams playing low blocks as well. He was part of the times when we didn't do well. Milinkovic-Savic, different beast altogether. If we go in for somebody like that, he gets to play. That part of the equation's taken out of it for me. So it becomes purely down to money and ambition. Ambition of the player, ambition of our club. If we want to have the best players in the world, we've got to pay top dollar for them. That's all there is to it. So,
okay, well, how about this then? How about let me switch up the question to Zaniolo. Same thing, 60 million quid, 50 million quid, whatever that's going to cost, and then whatever his wages are, which will probably be a lot. I don't know what they are, but probably going to be at least 150 grand a week. Do we really need to have, or should we really have had to spend 120 million? Let's just balls it out, 120 million quid for two players that are only ever going to play, in a ideal situation, 50% or 60% of games, and that's even factoring in injuries. We're going to have 6 players then in the forward line, and some of them, yes, can play in different formations, but this is what this is the kind of the thing I worry about, right?
For me, again, it comes down to quality of player. If we got Milinkovic-Savic in and Zaniolo is as fit as he could be, he's not going to be struggling with these, obviously, the injury worries you do have. They get into the team well ahead of, as much as like Kulusevski, Zaniolo would be in the team ahead of him for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys agree? Just quickly, yes or no, Brian?
What, Zaniolo is better than Kulusevski?
Yeah, just quickly, yes or no? Yeah.
I'll just say, listen, again, with Zaniolo, I can't really comment because I don't know too much about him. But for me, what I believe in is Kulusevski, from what he showed last season, deserves the right to start this season. Yeah. From the way he finished last season, he was sensational. Yeah. So it's kind of his position to lose, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. And Nick, yes or no? Zaniolo, if we sign him and he's injury free, does he start ahead of Kulu on no form, but just on premise or on promise?
No, I don't think he starts ahead of him. Injury free, I think it's another one that we need some time and to learn the system. I think we're clear with what's happened with Richarlison is that he's learning the system, and this is what pre-season is all about, right? And getting miles and in the legs and everything else. So. Yeah, I can't see how you can start him over the player that had the most impact and is from when he from January in the first 12, 13 games that he played.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Coop. Didn't interrupt.
Just want to say one thing. Based on the thing you were saying as well about the unhappiness and the team and who starts to play for it. One of the things I love that Harry Redknapp said when we qualified for the Champions League and started buying players. A question was asked to Harry Redknapp, and Harry Redknapp was asked, with all these new players and Champions League football, how are you going to keep these players happy? And Harry Redknapp turned around with the greatest answer, and he said, listen, it's not my job to keep them happy. It's their job to keep me happy.
Yeah, great point.
So when you get the squad and it's the squad depth, you're all fighting for your places. It all ups your game. And that's why Conte and these managers get paid the big bucks. Because they not only have to make these decisions at who starts, but they've then got to keep happy the guys that don't start. So when it comes to, especially when you say like a Milinkovic-Savic, when we don't play that formation, but the thing that it would do if he comes in is give Conte that thought, right, I've got this option. And it keeps the other players on their toes to say, right, do you know what? I need, if I'm going to play and we're playing a 3-4-3, these two midfield positions, I don't want to lose my position.
Yeah.
It
helps everyone's game naturally.
Exactly.
You hope in an unselfish way. You hope it doesn't mean players become selfish to score goals. Sorry, Coop, I didn't mean to interrupt your point, mate. I was just you made an interesting comment, and I thought I'd just quickly go around the circle and see how they felt about it. So you think that Zaniolo would come in ahead of Kulu?
Yeah, if he's at full fitness, we don't have any issues with that. I think the ceiling. Well, Kulusevski's got a great ceiling as well. He could come on, also develop to being an incredible player. But for me, the excitement levels that were around Zaniolo before sort of injuries kicked in and there started being doubts about his general fitness levels, I think he could be one of the best players in Europe.
Wow. Okay.
I really do. I'll just see some great talent there waiting to burst onto the scene again. But there is that if with him, isn't there? I mean, at the moment, we know Kulusevski can perform in the Premier League. Zaniolo's still unknown, mostly because of the injury level. So I don't know. How do you call that one? That's what I'm saying. If the price was right, I'd definitely go for him. But if it's looking at 60 million, perhaps we're better off looking at a different option that's with a more reliable injury record and perhaps somebody more Premiership proven, or even addressing the English quota again. And then we're looking back at James Maddison, fitting him in somewhere, or a James Justin at the wing-back position. Yeah. So it's a tricky one. But I mean, as a player, just raw talent, Zaniolo's fantastic. But I also love Kulusevski. So I'd happily see both of them rotating in the squad. Yeah, no problem.
For me, it leads to another question, which I worry about whether or not we're already trying to, because maybe there's more availability in those positions. Maybe we're trying to saturate or overkill an area of the pitch where we're already super strong, and we're potentially going to overspend and overspend in that area and overlook in another. But before we get to that conversation, before I come to Nick for his opinion, we've got a new member. I hope that worked out. I hope that wasn't too loud. Carl Higgins, new member. Welcome, man. I'm going to slide the volume up and down to make it, I hope it wasn't too noisy or too not. Carl Higgins, man, thank you so much for your support, bro. It means the world to me. Go into if you want to join the WhatsApp group, as I said before, just jump into the community section on the YouTube channel and you'll see my telephone number in there, mate. Just message me.
What was that little fanfare there, Sean?
Yeah, so this is what StreamYard's got all these new little things where you can add personal audio clips. So
I like it.
I always hear them first on Sean. I use StreamYard all the time. I don't know about these things. Then just see Sean doing these new things. He's like the Inspector Gadget for StreamYard.
Well, you're going to find another one right now because, ladies and gentlemen, we have... Wait for it. We got a super chat.
Super duper.
Ladies and gentlemen, Will Stewart with a super chat saying, Nick, my dermatologist says you need to check that mole on your shoulder out. Far out. Okay.
Which one? I don't know which one.
You got a mole on your shoulder?
You got a disappearing mole by the looks of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Will, just
is it a transfer mole? You're right.
Brian Hill comes back for a pre-season friendly and disappears again. No, well, listen, Will, I appreciate the super chat, and obviously your
left shoulder. Left shoulder.
Left shoulder. Oh, that one.
Need to get it seen to, mate.
Right,
mate, what I need to know is, has Will got super fucking sight or something to see through your shirt?
Or more importantly,
no, it's probably from when Will was clipped me when I was in the wall, or the other day when I didn't.
Okay, say no more.
Yeah. No, but there is something else to be said. Like, why is Will showing clips of in the wall to his dermatologist?
I don't know, but Will, I will get it checked out, mate, and appreciate that. I don't know how you noticed that, but thank you.
That's because Will's a top bloke and always looks after his friends.
I'm going to scoot forward to another super chat right now from the 13th man.
Super duper.
Thank you so much for the super chat, my man. He's saying Zaniolo is a top talent. He's in alignment with Kubi Groove. Conte wanted him at Inter 2. I'm sure Paratici is aware of his injury records and will take this into consideration. Kuva is spot on with his assessment. Kuv, do you want to take this one away?
Wise man, that.
Yeah.
No, he's just one of those. He's one of those players that most people will have heard of by now, but might not have taken a lot of interest in him in the past. But anybody that had been watching him back in the day would know what he's all about. He's a superbly talented player. Just that little bit of a risk attached to it. I suppose in a way you could say like taking a punt on Paul Gascoigne after he got his knee injury. You know, all the talent's there. Is he going to stay fit enough to recapture it again? But he's worth the risk for me.
All right. Well, 13th man, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate it, mate. It's lovely generosity on your part. And it's always nice for Kuba to have someone patting him on the back for his opinions. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about it. I've watched him. I know his injury record. I've seen his highlight reel, but I don't watch Serie A enough to really know what impact he will have. And also, I feel like if we're going to bring him in, does that mean? In fact, just to finish off the forward line conversation, Brian, does it mean if we were to go and sign someone like Zaniolo, and if we were definitely to go and sign someone like him and someone like Maddison, does that mean that despite Lucas Moura saying 100 times over the last month or two, he wants to finish his contract out at Tottenham, whether it's the end of this season or the end of the next one, does that really put paid to Lucas Moura's time at Tottenham? Do you think there'll be a chance that he would be moved on, or do you think we'd make room for 7 forwards?
So what I'm led to believe and understood is he wants to see his contract out and then go back home to Sao Paulo and finish his career back at the club where it all started.
Yeah.
But I reckon if we're playing devil's advocate or whatever you want to call it, and we did sign Zaniolo and we did sign Maddison, I think if you look at it, they would have to offload some people on the right. And if you look at it, Lucas, Emerson, and Doherty, who would probably get the most interest? Who would probably get an easier sell? I think he would be the easy one to get rid of. So I think it could inadvertently, if that was to happen, be the end of Moura, only because I think it's easier to get rid of him because people will want him as opposed to Emerson and Doherty. So I think that's the way I look at it. But yeah, we will be top heavy. It'd just be typical of us, wouldn't we? We'll go 8 years without a replacement, and then we'll have too many.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
just be typical.
Okay. You know what? What I'm going to do right now, before I'm going to move back down the field towards the other areas. But I think it's a perfect time to ask the question for the clip at least. Let me 1 second. Let me just get rid of what I'm seeing on the screen. Let me go to this, right? So, fucking come on! I need a producer who can do this for me. It's so difficult to do it all in one go. Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Brian, I'm going to come to you first, mate. If you were Conte, Paratici, and Daniel Levy all rolled into one right now, and you had the decision-making process, and you had one more transfer, one more incoming transfer. Forget about outgoings, but you just had one more transfer that you could make, and then that was it. That was us done. Who would you rather? A centre-back, a wing-back, either side, or another forward or a creative midfielder?
So I'm going to give you like kind of at the start of the window it would be Bastoni. I still want, if you gave me everyone, I'd say Bastoni, but I wasn't aware of the Hakimi news you told me, or we were discussing with Man U before that. If he becomes available, listen, the centre backs we've got cover. We've got cover. But if you sign Hakimi, my God, do we go up levels? So it's hard for me to choose. Bastoni is my number one target, like personally that I want. But if Hakimi becomes available as a club, we've got to move heaven and earth for Hakimi.
Okay. So your wing back's your choice. Kuv, one choice, one more signing. What position and who?
Brian just said it. I mean,
Hakimi.
Wing back for me, you've got to have those positions covered for the whole season. If not, we're going to be struggling to do what we want to do again. And for me, if there's even a glint of Hakimi being available, you go for him. I'd rather see us have a bid, sort of the player turn us down because after we've had a bid accepted, than just sit there going, "Oh no, it'd never come to us." It's
Fine.
like it's the old Klinsmann thing. As big a signing as Klinsmann would have been for us. Yeah, why not? So perhaps we'd use somebody like that then. That unexpected sort of world-class player just comes through the door, and when everybody's saying he's never going to come to us, and then they do. I'm fed up with just being told no, we can't, because that's just the typical sit in fourth place. That's where we should be sort of attitude. Let's push further. Let's get those big bids in for the big players. Round off this transfer window with something spectacular. Then we're all happy.
Just to add on what Cooper said, that's what we want. You know what it is? If we went for, and we're going to use Hakimi off the street because this is where this is going. I want to see that we at least put a bid in. put in the bid, get it. If Man U offered X, Y, Z value wise, forget wages. Tottenham Hotspur offer the same. If the player chooses to go to Manchester United, like Hoover said, at least you can say, do you know what? We put a bid in. It's the lack of trying. When these players become available, rather than just saying, yeah, we'll if you really
we tried with Bastoni, right?
Yeah, but
and it didn't work out.
When Bastoni, like I said to you,
we tried with Guardiola.
Like I said to you, I'll give you the prime example with this, Sean, is during January, I kept saying the whole window until we went to Juve, Vlahovic at all costs, get him. But then when I heard his wages he wanted was 300 grand a week, I was like, you know what? Fuck off.
Yeah.
But
I like that about you, Brian. You have something what I call as flexibility of thought.
Yeah.
When new information comes along, you're not going to be married to your opinion.
Exactly. Like why the hell do I want Dusan Vlahovic to come in at 300 grand at 21 or 22, whatever he is, and be on 100 grand more than Harry? What has he done to prove it? But at least if we put a bid in, it shows that we're trying to compete and get these players. Yeah. Not just letting it go, oh, we can't afford the wages or whatever. Go put a bid in. You've got Conte, you got this training ground, you got this stadium.
Yeah.
You can, like I said, with Luis Diaz, everyone said he's going to Liverpool. Liverpool are all in, but at least match Liverpool on that part. And if the player says Liverpool, you can't fault the club. You can't fault the club. You've gone for the play. You've actively made an attempt. Rather than
a lot of people at the time, remember it was like January 25th, 7 days left. A lot of people at the time did blame Levy when the Luis Diaz thing fell apart. A lot of people were like, typical Levy didn't pay enough money. As it turned out, with the benefit of hindsight, we were probably better off with Kulu anyway. But yeah, I take your point, Brian. I do take your point. Make a bid, and look, hopefully, if there's any truth to the Man United rumours, then if Man United can go after him, why can't we? Again, wages will come into it and things. For me personally, on this one, I know Nick's on the phone now. I think Will. I think you put the fear of God in him. I think he's on the phone to the doc. He's going to be back in a minute. But for me personally, look, I'm with a lot of the guys in the comments here. Most people in the comments, and I've been pulling them up as we were talking about it. Jazz Fusion, Jace, Will's curious about why the Nuggets. I'll deal with that in a second. A lot of people are saying, Scott M as well, a lot of people are saying centre-back. And I have to agree, because I do think, who was the point? It's gone here. Roman numerals. I will call you Roman numerals. He said he think between Kulu, Spence, maybe even with Lucas Moura as well. Plus, who knows if Doherty or Emerson improve this year. We do have players that can play in that role. I don't trust Sanchez. I don't trust Rodon. And I think that maybe Tanganga, I wouldn't even necessarily trust him if he was back. But I wish him well in Milan if he goes that way. But for me, I think we absolutely need a centre. Sorry, go on, Kofi. Yeah.
That's right. I was just going to say quickly, in general, in principle, I'd agree with that entirely. Centre back over right wing back. But because it's Hakimi, that's a different situation for me, because he is top of the pile.
Well, what about if it was Guardiola? If Guardiola could happen. Chelsea are looking at Guardiola. I don't think that's going to happen anymore because they've just signed Koundé. But like, there's a lot of noise out that maybe Guardiola's not quite as indispensable, as he was a couple of weeks ago. Maybe Guardiola is purchasable. Maybe, and a lot of people in the media are saying that the Bastoni deal isn't dead. So, like,
any of those three names fit the bill. We're talking about a level of quality we haven't got.
But you'd still rather take Hakimi over one of those guys?
Yes, just because he literally is for me top of the pile.
Yeah, he is. I agree with that. I just think that we possibly have more ability in the rest of the squad who could adapt. You never know. Lucas Moura could become, he only played 40 minutes of that game. I'm not saying that he will be, but there's a chance, right? Whereas at centre back, we don't have enough quality. If on day one against Southampton, Romero, God forbid, or Eric Dyer go down with a bad injury to their, ankle or feet or legs or knees or whatever else, then we're stuck for 2-3 months with Sanchez.
Well, I'd say the counter to that would be there is only really one Hakimi. The next choice is considerably lesser ability.
I agree.
But there are plenty of centre backs we could get out that are big improvements on what we got, and some of them, like we said, the likes of De Vrij, very, very modest outlay for them.
Yeah, but the question was if you only get one signing. So you either start the season with Hakimi and then the centre backs that you have. You still want to. Okay,
the best quality you can get in any of those positions. Yeah.
The only thing I would change from that with that is, I still think Dumfries is available. And if we couldn't get hold of Hakimi, the only reason I'm so big on Dumfries, I think he's a great player, but reuniting him with Conte and then reuniting him with Perisic, where we all talk about Walker and Rose and that relationship that they built and had, and they knew what they were each other. You get Perisic and Dumfries back together. They know exactly what Conte wants. They know exactly how to do it. They know what they're doing each other when it builds passages of play, and they don't even need to work on that. Obviously, the only thing they need to work on is the understanding with the centre backs. And I think if you have two great wing backs in a Conte system, it can only help the defence as well, because they know where to be, they know what they're doing. So if we like Cooper said, Hakimi is like he's up there, and then the rest are like But I reckon you put Dumfries and Perisic together, you're onto a winner immediately.
Listen, I agree with you, and. Someone's asking, I think the new member Stuart saying, why only choose one? It's just part of a game, man. It's just a game we do. If you would you rather? Obviously, we'd like in an ideal world to have 3 new signings or maybe even more. But just quickly before I come back to you, Nick, to see how the phone call went. There's 101 likes, guys. There's 230 odd people watching. If you haven't already, please just hit the like button. It means the world to me on the Friday night. To keep everyone, let's keep everyone company with our ideas as a group, as a community. But please help me out by just hitting that like button. It costs you nothing. It means the world to the algorithm and the channel. Nick, everything okay, mate? Did you get through?
Yeah, I got through, and then I got told we close soon. Call back on Monday.
Oh well. Yeah, I was going to say calling at 6 o'clock in the evening. Like if
yeah, I mean, but do they not know who I am?
No one knows who you are, mate. You change your name every week.
Yeah. Sorry, who's this? Can you give me your name? And I'm like,
Ranji Torino Endon Bad Boy.
I'll tell you what, mate. If you actually ever signed for Spurs, you'd make so much money for Levy with your name on the back of the shirt.
Changes. The shirt changes are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Black Mole Jeet.
All right. Well, listen, mate. I hope it all works out. Make sure you do phone on Monday. Obviously,
I will do. Thanks.
Good luck with that,
big up, Will.
But yeah, big up, Will, for sure. Nick, I guess you didn't miss the question. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It was, would you rather, if you had to pick one position, who would it be? Right wing back, a wing back, centre back, or anywhere else you want, central midfielder, forward. Had to be one. Which one would it be, and who would it be in that role?
I'm with Kuva here. It's right wing back, and it's Hakimi. I think we've got enough. We haven't got enough of what we need at centre back, but we've got enough. We've got enough to cover in that position if we needed to. We don't have enough on that right wing back, especially if there's the talk of Emerson, Doherty to go. That leaves Spence and potentially Mora, ? So yeah, the right wing back for me, in the way that Conte plays, it has to be the next cab off the rank.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, I think that's it's a 3-1 in the panel for the right wing back, but I think the majority of the chat was saying that they would rather have a centre back. We'll figure that one out. Let me posit. Let me pivot now to some news. Obviously, we've still got to go and talk about Rangers, guys. But just a little bit of news has come out. Obviously, we saw Ben Davies walking off the pitch, or after the game, we saw him walking away from the ground in Korea in a car or in a leg brace of some sort. Little bit of news. I'm just going to read it out. The good that I saw today, I think it was in the Daily Mail. The good news is that Tottenham Hotspur defender Ben Davies' injury isn't an explicitly bad one. The bad news is that he might not be recovered and fit enough to play in Tottenham's first Premier League match of the season against Southampton. Davies injured his ankle against Seville in Korea and limped off the field, being substituted. He was later photographed wearing a protective soft cast. it looks like that chance. It looks like there's a chance that the injury could be enough to keep Davies out of Tottenham's first match against Southampton and the game against Chelsea, according to the Evening Standard. Sorry, the Evening Standard, not the Daily Mail. Davies hasn't trained all week. Should he not be available, new loan signing Clement Longley would be his replacement in Antonio Conte's back three defensive formation. I'm going to start with you, Nick, on this one. How much of a blow is that going to be for us? We haven't seen Longley yet, and we only have 2 games before Southampton. The first one is obviously tomorrow. Walk me through your thoughts on how much of a miss it's going to be for Ben Davies and how much of a baptism of fire it's going to be for Clement Longley.
Yeah, I think, look, we all know with Dyer, with Davies, we need better than what we've got. That's kind of we all know that. Longley, it'd be good to see some other players playing that haven't had the opportunity for whatever reason, COVID, injury, what have you, vaccination record or visa record or whatever. So it'll be a massive baptism of fire to go in, in that Rangers game, and I don't think it's not going to be easy, but when is the right time? I think it's. I know Scott M loves Ben Davies, or not really. So look, yeah. I think it's. I do think that unless something happens, then to Longley, like Scott said, and Scott, we're agreeing. So let's note down the date and time on that. Look, I think it's. He needs to play. He needs to get in that system because he is eventually going to be. There's no point taking him on loan for him to just sit on the bench, right? So there are going to be games that he's going to be playing on, and in answer to your question, Sean, get the postman on. Let the postman come on and be the postman that always delivers. Yeah, let's get him on.
Who's that? Oh, the box office. Alex.
No, post office. Mr. Post Office.
All right. I hadn't seen it. Where is it? It's where did I get to on my things? Oh, it's the next comment under the Bremen News. Alex, Sean, get me on. Send me the link, please. All right, listen, Alex, come on, mate. But I want you to not come on and I love you to pieces, bro. But calm, bro. Calm. Where's your
come on, Sean? He can come on as long as he doesn't talk waffle, bruv. All right.
I love Alex to pieces.
I love you, Alex. I'm only joking, mate.
All right, bro. Coming in, man. Here's the link for you, buddy. Come on. I hadn't left you hanging. I hadn't worked my way down the comments yet. There's so many comments. Okay, so yeah, appreciate that, Nick. Good take, mate. Good take. I'll come to you, Couve. Ben Davies, mate. How much of? Also, does that change? The fact that Ben Davies has got an we don't know how serious it is. Apparently, it's not that serious, but just goes to show the fragility that we might have in that role. Do we, are you Clement Longley? Like, I've got all faith in the guy. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar, but he might not be. How much of a setback could this be?
Good time to check Longley out, really, isn't it? Just throw him in at the deep end. You're not going to get much more of a deep end than going to Ibrox to play. It's with Ben Davies. Yeah, I think he landed a bit awkwardly, didn't he? Bit of a twist on the ankle or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being a big deal. And it gives those players that haven't had a chance yet to come in. I'm all for that. That's what pre-season should be about.
Jazz Fusion thinks he would have started anyway. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Otherwise, Conte needs to find out if he's going to fit into the team, doesn't he? So you've got to play him. There's no way around that. Training only gets you so far. You need to have some competitive action to really assess players. So it's a good one to come into.
All right. Listen, before I come to you, Brian, I need to get an audio clip of a box cutter, like scissors cutting some cardboard or something. Please welcome to the show. It's Mr. Post Office himself. Mr. Box Office, I'm only joking. How you doing, Alex? You okay, my man?
What's up, Alex, bro?
I was just interested when you said I need to be calm. I think I was absolutely fine last week. Last time I was on, by the way, I was just chatting. I was chatting a lot of facts, bruv. That's what I was doing. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna have a go at you for that, because I think understand that I was absolutely fine.
No, you were fine. You were absolutely fine. But you were reacting to people in the comments. And
no, bruv. You need to learn. Bruv. I've done this game for a very, very long time now, bruv. Yeah, a very, very long time now, bruv. There's no one that can get me, bruv, easily, bruv. Yeah, let's just get it right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mr. Box Office doesn't go like that, bruv. He doesn't do that all day long, bruv. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on now, bruv. We all,
I love you, Alex.
Alex,
did I not tell? I text you afterwards saying,
yeah,
you're awesome and I love you.
Bruv, you're fun. You understand.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, you understand it, bruv. Yeah, you definitely understand what I'm talking about as well. You know what I mean? So, of course. But anyway,
it's good to see you, mate. It's good to see you.
Leave it to you, but yeah.
We're going to come to you in a second, mate. We're going to come. Welcome to the show. Brian, over to you, my man. Listen, Longley is going to have to step in. He's going to have to step up, and it's going to have to happen very quickly. He's got little time to learn. Ben Davies is he's not going to start the season. He might even miss the Chelsea game. So, what are your thoughts on all this, my man?
Well, I like Ben Davies. I'm not saying he's brilliant. He's awesome. He's whatever. But I've never been one that's turned on him. When we actually signed him as coming in as left back, I was actually happy he was taking over Danny Rose before Danny Rose hit the heights he did, because I thought he was brilliant at Swansea. And like I said before, when we're talking Kulusevski and Zaniolo, and when I start Zaniolo again, and I said Kulusevski is his shirt to lose, and Ben Davies, if he'd been fit, for me he starts, because last season he was brilliant. For me. The way his game evolved and everything, and especially the games when Romero was out, and then he carried it on for Wales, qualifying for the World Cup. For me, Ben Davies, if he was 100% fit, started Southampton. Longley would have been there too. I believe Longley will overtake him as the number one, but it would have been his to get. And if I'm happy Longley, if he does start, he's got Southampton at home rather than jumping in at Chelsea away. That could have been like the baptism of fire, and really could have been he may have shone through it, but it may have been like, well, welcome to the Premier League. This is how we do it, and been a bit stifled. But if Ben Davies isn't fit, Longley comes in at left wing, left centre back, a position, as you know, Sean, he played very, very well at Sevilla. Yeah. I think him and Romero could work very, very well. You've got like the brawn and the strength and the aggression of Romero, and then you've got the ball play. It's kind of like, do you know what it looks like? The way I would identify those two is when you look at Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. You had the ball playing, like to bring the ball forward, Ferdinand, and then you had the rough, ready, go through, like literally put his body on the line, Vidic. And look how that kind of tandem worked. So I'm happy if Ben Davies was fit. If Ben Davies was 100% fit, I would start the season with Ben Davies, just because of how he ended last season. He was sensational.
I would as well. 100%. I think Longley has to earn his right in, but he's going to get the spot now.
Exactly. That's what you have to earn your right. Unless you bring in like a superstar, then it's like, I'm sorry, mate, out you go. Yeah. But like I said, the most important thing is if Ben Davies ain't fit for the start of the season, at least he's going to get Southampton out of the way to settle in with his new teammates and at home before he goes to, let's face it, our first away game is one of our most hostile and hardest ones of the year. And if you're talking about actual record at Stamford Bridge, it is our hardest away game of the year, next to Anfield. So yeah, if he's not fit to start, then I'm happy Longley gets Southampton before Chelsea.
All right, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with everything you guys have all said so far, thus far.
My God, my God.
Yeah, no, listen, there's zero complaint for me. For what it's worth, like, yes, I'm massively, I spent a lot of the summer bigging up Clement Longley. Me, Kuva, Will, who's in the comments, and I went through it together. Me and Will figured it out to start with. Will came on and helped us out, and we went through it. And then ever since then, I've been like a proponent of Longley, having all three of us figured it out together that he's got really good stats. But at the same time, like I'm a little bit worried that if he turned out to be a shit show, then people were going to come back and say, you know, me, Coover, I'm going to drag Coover and Will into this. Or the three of us suggested he was going to be something better. We were just reading off the stats, and the stats do look really good. I think he will be a great player, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm a little bit scared that now there is no bedding in period for him. He's going to have to play at least 45 minutes against Rangers, at least 45 against Roma, probably, hopefully more, because we don't have another left-sided centre-back behind him. And unless you want to put Sanchez over there again, and that doesn't teach us anything. So it's a worry for me, and it amplifies the reason why I think that if you went back to that, if you only had one signing, which would it be? I think it amplifies the need to make sure it's a centre back, because I just don't think we have the strength in depth in the defensive areas like we do elsewhere on the pitch.
Sean, I have to say on that as well, which you reminded me. Longley playing 45 minutes, however long he plays tomorrow. He's going to get a rude awakening because there is no friendlies between England and Scotland. I mean, he'll learn a lot from that game tomorrow. He'll earn a lot. He'll learn a lot from that game tomorrow. Maybe
and it'll be a spicy game as well. It'll be a real spicy game.
Exactly. You know? So he's going to get thrown in at the deep end kind of thing. Roma might be hostile, the Jose, whatever. But there's no doubt that Rangers Tottenham is going to be a lot fiercer than Tottenham Roma. That's for damn sure.
100%. Alex, welcome to the channel, my man. Welcome to the show. We'll start you off with this one about Ben Davies. Nice, easy introduction. What are your thoughts about that? Are you disappointed that he's injured? Are you worried about Longley? How do you think about what are your thoughts on that whole left-sided centre-back position?
Well, if Longley's not the reject that people keep on talking about, well, he'll do okay then, isn't it? You know what I mean? Simple as that. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I don't agree. I don't subscribe to all these stats. I'm sorry. I don't care about stats. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can look at stats a little bit, but like I said before, when you got stats, if you're going to look at stats so much, you're going to have Højbjerg, the best midfield in the world. But we all know that he's bang average. But anyway, I've already said that already, and everybody's agreeing with me. Even Cooper's agreed with me as well. So we don't need to go there, don't we? Sorry, Brian, because I actually you're my boy, Brian, because I know you love Højbjerg. You know what I mean? So respect to you, Bob. You know what I mean? And also Ellie as well, because to be fair, like whether I don't agree with her or not, I love her because she likes to debate, and I love her attitude towards it as well. But the fact is, yeah, I don't take too much out of it. I'm gonna give him a chance. Yeah, you know what I mean. He needs a chance, but I think Tottenham fans just need to be a bit calm about this guy. You know, there's a reason why he failed at Barcelona. You know, there's a reason why he failed at Barcelona. You know, and that's it really. And you know, if he does well, we haven't got a buy-on clause there, haven't we? You know, it's a straight loan. So you know, if you know, so
option,
clearly,
I think,
we clearly are not going to be interested in the guy when he finishes anyway. And even if he does do well, you know, you'll end up going somewhere else anyway. So.
And just so I know, Alex.
But Davis is always a great player anyway. I didn't subscribe to anybody telling me that he was absolute rubbish. I mean, the guy. I was told that Danny Rose was actually the better left back, and I've seen better left backs. Well, I'm sorry, but look, I've just proved everybody wrong, really. You know what I mean? Everybody was telling me about his stats and everybody else, and now everybody's saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. Now, well, who's saying that and defending the guy? Oh, it was me. Okay, exactly. Another thing that I said that was right again. You see what I'm saying? Another thing. See, talking truth again. You know what I mean? So you know, it's just it just runs off the tongue. The one that really gets to me, is this Tanganga business. That really
all right, let's talk about Tanganga.
That gets on my neck. Honestly, gets on my neck. It's like, oh, we just need to drop him alone. Okay, so what other homegrown players going to come in there, bro? Tell me.
Homegrown and home trained, correct?
Home trained. Who's going to come in?
Well,
I'm told Harvey White's coming in. Harvey White's coming in. Harvey White's coming in. Harvey White could even last in the League One, bruv. Could even last in League One.
But he would be the 25th member of
the squad. He's not going to do nothing as a 25th member, bruv.
No, but neither would Tanganga either.
Yes, he would, bruv. He could do more than what Harvey White would do, bruv. Tell me.
In an ideal world, you're not going to need either of them in the Champions League. All you need is 11
players. If we get injuries, which we will get injuries, yeah, right? Tanganga's a better bet, yeah, than Sanchez. If you really want to
I do agree with that.
It's a better bet than Sanchez, bruv. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sanchez,
argument,
at least he can play on the left, bruv. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna have a guy at Sanchez, yeah, but at least Tanganga can play on the left, yeah, and at least he's got
Alex,
a little bit more.
The argument that you're overlooking, I don't think there's very few people I've ever seen in the Spurs community who dislike Tanganga. I think everybody, or the vast majority, 90% of people, are on the spectrum of saying he's a good player who could become a great player but needs minutes, and he's not going to get enough minutes at Tottenham. Absent massive injuries, which we don't want. And if we do have massive injuries, we probably need somebody better than him to step in. Therefore, let him go on loan and level up somewhere else, right?
So then that means another foreign player, though, brother. And then we've got too many foreign players in the squad. You see what I'm saying?
We don't have too many foreign players to be able to field a Champions League team. I think what you're overlooking, mate, is that there's 25 men in the squad, and I take your point that you need to have 4 of them that are homegrown, but not all 25 need to play. Only 11 need to play, and then maybe 8 substitutes. And hopefully you can get out of your main 19. Hopefully you can get through the Champions League season just using that 19. And if you need to, those 4 or 5 players that are homegrown, home trained can be kids that never need to be drawn on. I think you're under the impression that everyone in the 25
I never look at it like that, because the thing is, though, I always look at it like the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is we might get injuries, yeah, because at the end of the day, this is a season that is no other season. We've got a World Cup in the middle of the season, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, right. And there's a lot of players that we've got in our squad that are going to be playing a lot of games, yeah. So there's going to be a risk of injuries. I don't think we're going to get through the group stages, to be fair with you. Depending on what we got, I don't think we're going to get through it. I don't think we're going to get through it. I think we're going to get bantered out of it. I think we're going to get bantered out of it. I'm stick by what I say. Yeah, I might be wrong.
Is the draw? Is the draws next week? Is the draw next week, or is it middle of August? When is the draw? Anyone know?
For what?
The Champions League group stage.
25th of August.
Oh, it's 25th of August. I thought it was 25th of July.
I think one of the Champions League or the Premier League is going to go awry. I think it's going to be the Champions League is going to go awry. I don't think we'll be able to cope with 2 games a week. That's the problem I have at the moment. I do understand the whole logic of what he's doing. I think it's quite good management from Conte, the way he's set up the pre-season and what his thoughts were doing it. And I actually like it. I listened to Alistair Gold, and way he put it across, I think it was quite interesting how he put it across, and saying that, you know, it wasn't about us winning the game. It was about how much training we done, and the training scheme that they did, and then how you could manage lasting in a game, which was going to be very, very tough, hard hitting and stuff, and who could last in that sort of game. And I understand that, and that's why he's got some of the games that he's got ahead of us to prepare us for the season going on, because it's testing mentality, strength, and everything else. I think that's quite good and quite interesting. But at the same time, I just don't think we're cut enough to cope with 2 games a week. I just don't think we are. You know, I do not think we are.
You know what, Alex?
Do you think we are? Do you think we are, Brian?
Well, no, I was going to ask you a question with this, because I asked this question yesterday on Spurs related, and we'll see what the panel say, whatever in the chat says. So, if I gave you the option right now to roll the dice in the Champions League, and you don't know where we're going to get, whether it be out the group stages, like Alex said, Europa League, or go out the last 16, or go out, or even win it, but you have no idea, or I guaranteed you that Tottenham Hotspur won the Europa League this season, guaranteed, like we end the season winning the Europa League, would you rather roll the dice and see where we go in the Champions League, or would you, it's one of those, would you rather, Sean? Or would you say?
I'll win Europa League all day long, because I think
that's what I said.
I win Europa League all day long. I wanted to take Europa League all day long, because I sat there and thought we ain't going to win the Champions League, because we couldn't cope with the Conference League. Yeah, and I think if we win the Europa League, I think that's very much confidence builder, and actually puts us in a better position in the Champions League, that rather than going into Champions League, get knocked out in the knockout stages. Might win the FA Cup, maybe win the Carabao Cup. I just don't think it's good enough. I don't think
Alex,
it's good enough.
Do you not think we've got a better squad this season than we did in 2019 for the Champions League? Where we got you
could argue yes, but I still think that there was a better mentality there. No, actually that's wrong. because that was but I think there was better. I think we were in a better position in the other seasons in that sense, because I think with this squad at the moment, I think we have to win, because I look at Kane and Son. They've only got a few years left. I don't think they've got a long time to go, as far as I'm concerned. They've been doing it for a very, very, very long time at a very, very good high level. And there's going to be a time where it's like, how much energy you're going to be able to give anymore, to the cause anymore. You see, so it's going to be for other players to step up. This is where Richarlison's going to come into it. Pulisic might come into it. Kunin might have to come into this equation to try and step up a little bit more. And this is where I'm starting to look at those players and say to myself, okay, can you be the man? You know what I mean? Can you be the men to step up? Because at the moment, all we've been talking about is Harry Kane and Son being stepping up, being the man that you go to all the time. I don't know if Kulusevski, I could say that maybe about Romero, but Romero still, even though he proved me wrong last season, I still think he needs another season to show me, can you go a little bit more further to prove that you're that world-class defender that you've shown a little bit more shown during last season. You see what I'm saying? And I just think with these signings, I think Basuma's got a little bit about him. He's definitely got that sort of thing about him as well. But again, there's still a question mark. He's been playing a team that is, mid-table, sort of Brighton. You see what I'm saying? Now you've got to go to big levels now, where people now are going to be looking at you like a scalp and trying to get the get the best out of trying to get the worst out of you. You know what I mean? With big teams or little teams trying to, I can't explain it, but you get what I'm trying to say. You see what I'm saying? So he's going to step up as well. So these are the things that I've got question marks in my head for this season, and those questions won't be answered, well into the season. You know what I mean? Even if we have a good start, and even if we beat Chelsea, I know after we beat Chelsea, look what happened. We're going to get excited saying we're going to win the league. I know exactly what's going to happen. We're starting to say we're going to win the league and stuff like that.
Let me ask Kuva this, mate. I love what you're saying, Alex. Take it on board, my man. Kuv, to what Alex is saying, right? Like he's mentioning about the games against Brighton, the games against Wolves last year, Southampton, Burnley. The 25 points that we dropped from teams that played some form of low block, or whether you call it parking the bus, low block, squeezing the midfield, the high press, whatever, right? The teams that we struggled against, have we got anywhere close to solving for the 25 points that we dropped?
Yeah, we've addressed some of it for sure. For a start, Basuma's what he'd call press resistant. So the teams like Brighton that were pressing us very high, he's not going to be worried about having a player on him. He's just going to shrug him off, do what he does. Our players were a bit weak with that last season. I mean, people big up Højbjerg, but he struggled really badly in those games. We've got better quality on the wings, on the wing backs. Jed Spencer, a bit of an unknown still, but then again, he does have the pace and the drive to go past people, which gets you around the back of some defences. If you've got that raw pace in those wide areas, you can get to the touchline, you can cut the ball back. Gaps will appear naturally because you're forcing it. So we've addressed it partially, but have we done it enough? I'd say probably not enough yet, because we haven't got the depth in doing that. If Spence and Perisic are out, we're back to the same wing backs that we struggled with last season doing that. So it's part of the job's done in the transfer window, but not enough for my liking. As for Alex's other points about the homegrown quota, it's valid concerns he has, absolutely. I would look at it another way, though. If the level of our 17 foreign players is upped considerably, we can afford to have some of those academy players in to play alongside them. Because
I don't think Manchester City, Kuva, am I right in thinking Manchester City didn't have a single player in their Champions League squad last year that was homegrown, home trained, that actually played a game in the Champions League?
Yeah, could well be. I think Mourinho as well, he used to like having a squad of about 18 players he relied on, and nobody else really getting looking. I think if we're getting to the point where we've got that many injury problems, it's called an injury crisis for a reason.
Yeah. So and the seasons are right off then anyway, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. It does you can get some of your academy players come in and they thrive on that. It happens sometimes. But I can see where Alex is coming from, because you don't deliberately go and
correct. Foden
I don't think you want to sort of deliberately sabotage your homegrown quota just for the sake of it. But the counter argument for me is always going to be what happens with the likes of Tanganga if he's fit and healthy and he's sitting in on the bench all season. He plays, say, 3 league games and 2 Champions League games. What good has that done him? He's not developing then. I'd prefer to see him lent out on loan, and those 5 games we may do with the likes of Harvey White coming in or someone like that. Well, not for him, for Tanganga specifically, but someone like that. We'd make these little adjustments and do put a bit of faith into the youngsters at that point, because, like I said, that would be an injury crisis at that point. You can't cover for all of it. Man City don't either, as you rightly point out. But balance, at the end of the day, it's got to be a bit of balance, hasn't it? It's craziness to get rid of all of your homegrowns and just all the eggs in one basket. But you can certainly hang on to a few key players, can't you? I mean, we have got some that are going to meet that quota anyway. But
does it make you think, Coop? Just quickly, I'll stick with you on this one. Does it make you? You know, when we were saying about if you had to pick one of the signing, the would you rather question. Given that another centre back is not going to help us break down to find more of those 25 points, right?
Well, that's you say that, but I think it would, because if you're solidifying at the back even more, it does allow the rest of the players to push forward more. You can be more attacking with it. So there's always a synergy between strengthening your defence and improving your attack. Depends who the players are, really, doesn't it? If it's a fairly sort of average improvement at the back, just adding to depth rather than quality, it's not going to help. But if it is the likes of a Gvardiol, a Bastoni, or someone like that, a really top quality player, it's going to help your forward line. So Iggy was saying this.
But you're still sticking to you still want the right wing. You still want a Hakimi over the centre back.
You go we were talking about this level of players: Bastoni, Gvardiol, Hakimi. If any of them become available, you go and get them.
I do agree with you though, Kuva, about the whole thing about the right wing thing. I don't like the fact that West Ham are going for Kostic. I don't like it. I haven't watched him a lot, but for me, I don't think. I think Tommy, the Hotspur Hood, he made a very good point on his video, saying that I don't think we're going to go for attacking midfielder, and I agree with him completely. I think we are going to go for someone that is wing backs, and I don't understand why we haven't done that. You see what I'm saying? So that for me should have been. We have addressed it with Perisic. Yes, we have, and I understand that it will help hopefully Sessegnon, and I think it's more about his injuries and stuff. But obviously, I'm gonna be a bit more calm with the whole thing with Doherty, because Doherty has shown a little bit more. Emerson needs to go because it's just not going to happen because of how many foreign players we got. Again, I don't like going on that, but it's the way it is. But we do need somebody that is a proper wing back. And I think Kostic would be that person, because I think the creativity will be coming from our wing backs. That's for me is the way we're going to be playing, as far as I'm concerned. I think having an attacking midfielder, he's only going to be on the bench, because I only see us playing 3-4-3. That's it. I don't think he's going to change.
I think that attacking midfielder, I think it'd be wrong if you look at somebody and just say that's a cam, that's a number 10. But if it's somebody that's quite happy to drift wide and become that sort of wide attacker as well, I mean, Ericsson kind of used to do that for us a bit, didn't he? Quite often going out left wing, or even right wing. But having that creativity somewhere up front can be a big big bonus. It might not be Maddison we're looking at. It might be somebody that's a lot more sort of range to their whole playing style. It might be somebody you consider a winger even that can come inside. I mean, Kulusevski fits that bill, for example. I could see him playing as a number 10 if it was needed. But are we going to go out and out for number 10 and say, no, we're going for 3-5-2? No, we're not, are we?
No, I don't. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening because he didn't do it last season. I think he's very. I mean, it's respect to him because he knows what he wants to do because he's won with it before. So why would he change? And I think that's the thing. Conte knows his ideas, and that's it. That's why I think Prodigy's very lucky, as far as I'm concerned, because he's got a great manager who's making him look good. But the point is that I just don't see us getting an attacking midfielder because I don't see him play. I don't see that midfielder playing a lot of the time. And I think you made a good point. Buying Basuma in, I think that negates the whole thing about having an attacking midfielder as far as I'm concerned. You see what I'm saying? Because why are you getting Basuma in? Because I think you've got Bentancur, you've got Skip, who for me, if he gets more game time, will improve as far as I'm concerned because he's got that mentality. Yeah, and then you've got Højbjerg as well, who, whether I've got my critics about him, he does put the effort in, and you would want him in a fight, wouldn't you? So
yeah, you would. You'd rather him on your side than
you rather have him in a battle.
Yeah.
All day long than anybody else. You see what I'm saying?
And there'll be a lot of battles in the. In the Champions League, right?
It does look like a very good squad, but again, like I said, we need to start talking, walk the walk and talk the talk rather than talking. You see what I'm saying? Because, like I said, if it doesn't work out, if we don't win a trophy this season, there's a lot of teams that are going to be on us, saying, "Well, you were talking a lot, weren't you?" And that's why I'm being very careful what I say. And that's it, really. But
right.
Kuva, you carry on. Sorry about that, mate. I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, let me. Kuva, sorry, mate.
Oh, there's one last part. I was going to answer Brian's question from earlier. The would you rather?
Yep.
Rolling the dice on the Champions League finishing position, or taking the guaranteed
Europa League
trophy. Europa League trophy.
I was thinking Europa League at first, but then I thought about it. Champions League. How many finishing positions are we talking about? We're talking about not making the group stage.
You've got no idea.
Group stage. No. But out of the options there, so not making the group stage, round of 16, quarters, semis, final. That's 6 possible finishing positions. I'll bloody roll the dice on that, mate.
What, Champions League?
Yeah. If you've got a 1 in 6 chance of winning it, yeah.
I listen. The Champions League. Go on.
Well, if it's roll the dice at the start of the campaign,
if
you're saying right now, see whatever happens, or take the Europa League.
Yeah,
of course you take the Europa League. Of course you would. The actual to win a trophy. If you said to me, roll the dice on the Champions League or win the Carabao Cup, I'd probably take that.
We've already got the league and both domestic cups, so have the Champions League for a bit of trimming.
It's unlikely we're going to win. Listen, Conte's pedigree in league football is exceptional, but his pedigree in European football is absolutely
You've got to remember, in the Champions League, Antonio Conte has never won a champ. Once he's got out of the group stage, he's never won a qualifying game in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
In the knockouts, he's not won a
game. So you take
the finals and stuff on the way down.
Roll the dice, game
which
on.
Have gone. But what you do know is he's got to a final of a Europa League. Now, this isn't me being negative because we win a trophy. If you look at it, listen, we figured we're here talking about not getting a Hakimi, maybe not getting a Milenkovic-Savic, not getting a. You look at that Champions League. Yes, we've got a manager that's capable of winning it, but would you say we're going to go from a few years out and go ahead and win it? I don't think we will win it. Do I think we'll get out of the group stages? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think we'll get to the last 16 and maybe come up against a big gun, especially if we finish second. But if you told me I was guaranteed...
We'll lose to Chelsea in the quarterfinals, I think that would be something,
or something like that. You know what I mean? And then if you told me you're guaranteeing a trophy, and let's face it, it's a major trophy, the Europa League. Me, Kuva, will remember it as the UEFA, the UEFA Cup that we won in 1980. It's a huge trophy.
Huge trophy.
And it is a trophy.
And the gap between the Europa League and the Champions League has closed, I think.
I need to put this to food for thought as well, yeah? If you win Europa League, you're in the first pot in the Champions League
next
in
season.
draw.
Yeah.
That's a catch. That's a catch, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's not negative, Brian, what you're saying. If you want to win the Europa League, it's a positive as far as I'm concerned.
No,
that's our level. That is our level as far as I'm concerned.
I don't. It's not.
I think our level.
Our level is Champions League. We're Champions League level.
It's not. Our level.
No, our level is Champions League.
We're the fourth best team. We're the fourth best team in the Premier League.
We've got Champions League. We're lucky to Champions League, but Man United fell like a stone.
But dude,
Arsenal
mate, hold up, mate. Hold up.
West Ham had 2 games a week.
We would probably beat the second team down in the French league. We would probably beat over 2 legs most of the Dutch league. We'd probably beat, bar one team, most of the German league. Or we'd have a good chance, right? We are champions just because in the Premier League there's only 4 spots, or now there's 5 spots. But if you were to rank us in Europe, we are within the best. I don't know, whatever it is, 64 teams in Europe. We're definitely
we're not there yet, man. I'm sorry. I've got to disagree with that. I'm sorry. Last season, right? From January, we were not very good. Okay. We got 2 rejects in. That's what happened, and then we got into a.
We didn't get 2. That's not what happened. We got 2 rejects in.
We got 2 rejects in. Okay, we got momentum. We got into momentum, and we got through the season, and we got there. We got to the Champions League because Arsenal completely bottled it, which we all knew they were going to do it because they're absolutely rubbish, and they're not our rivals.
Third best team, Alex, since January. Third best team since January. Come on, mate.
Oh no! I'm talking truth, like I said, like Mr.
Bob.
Like I said before. No, I'm sorry. It's like I said before. Okay, we got lucky getting there. Now, well done, we got there. Okay,
we didn't get lucky getting there.
We did get lucky because Arsenal could have got it, bro. Arsenal got it. West Ham
got lucky. Arsenal got lucky with us dropping points.
As soon as we got 1 game a week. We started picking up, and that was it because we didn't have that much.
And Arsenal had 1 game a week all year.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why they're absolute rubbish. That's why they're not our rivals. This season is a much more difficult season to start coping with.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yes,
Alex.
we have got a little bit more.
Yeah, but Arsenal have to play for the European League football this year as well, right?
Yeah,
so
but
Manchester United have to play European football this year as well.
Yes, but they're with pressures of them being top class before. They're going to be wanting to get back into that Champions League as well. But for me, for Tottenham to be successful this season, the more focus should be winning a trophy this season. Now, for me, I'm sorry, Carabao Cup is still not good enough for me. Yes, it's a tick box. It is just literally a tick box for me, yeah? If you win the FA Cup, then we're starting talking. You know what I mean? That's it for me. And then possibly Champions League, but again,
we're winning the league, Alex. We're winning the league, mate.
We're not winning the league, man. For goodness' sake, we have to wait till the bloody after the World Cup and maybe in January, and then we'll start looking at that. Really, I don't know about that. Really, I think we're going a little bit too ahead of ourselves there.
Come on, mate. Let's believe.
But I believe in going to the moon. But anyway, that's not going to happen, isn't it? You know what I mean? Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm not. No, you know, we're all reality real. You know, let's get real now. Come on now. You know what I mean? I don't want to get laughed at out of the building. You know what I mean? Saying that. Come on now, please. Honestly, Nick, what the hell are you doing? Honestly, I never heard.
Mate, I said this before the transfer window. I said this. We were going to come first. I still think there's going to be a weird thing in this season, and we're going to come first. Honestly.
Oh God.
I've said it before. Where I think we're going to finish, and where my aim is to finish third. But as I said, where I think we finish, I think we're going to finish third. That is closer to second than we are to fourth. And for me, if we can do that, that is huge progression from last season.
Say that again. You still think we're going to finish third? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, but third, but closer to second, in the race for second, as opposed to who's coming third or fourth.
Look, I know what Kuva's going to say.
But this is the thing. Listen, if you look at it, when Conte came, the way I looked at Conte's tenure is when he came, I thought he'd come just too late to try and get Champions League. I thought we'd have a push for it and maybe just fall short because he came too late. I was wrong, and thankfully I was wrong. He got us Champions League. I thought this year we'd get Champions League, but this year I've now gone third in a trophy. And if he extends his contract, the season after next, I expect a proper title push. A proper, we're in it till like the last 3 games. Like literally, we go for it. And that's kind of my stages of how I thought we'd evolve with Conte. And
it depends on what happens in the summer next year, really, because like I say, he will want more players. And it depends on what happens between him and the board, and that's when, because like I say, this is okay now. You see, the pattern is with Conte, it's okay now. Everybody's enjoying themselves because they're liking the whole training scheme and working really hard and everything else. Let's see what happens next season when what happens. But we need to think about this season now. You know what I mean? But that's when.
All right. Well, let's start with
starts hitting the fan when you know the following season. You know, everybody starts wanting more. Like Conte wants more players, and then see what the board says, and everybody gets fed up with the runnings and running in, running out, and everything else, and doing all that running and everything else. You know, that's when we'll start to see whether this is a long-term project with Conte, and that's it, really, isn't it?
All right. Let me ask you guys this then. Starting with moving the conversation forward to the game against Rangers. I'm going to start with you, Barry. What do you want to see from the Rangers game? Do you want to see us start with? Are you happy to still get players? Are you still happy to see Lucas Moura start the game at right wing back to give him minutes?
100%.
Are you still happy to see Pape Matar Sarr having 45 minutes, or do you want to see us at least at some point, and ideally at the start the game with something that looks like our starting 11? Perisic on the left, whoever on the right, Jed Spence, and then Basuma and Bentancur. How do you want to see us line up?
So I think the next couple of games, I do want to see us playing as close as possible to our potential 11. But I would like to see Moura start again at right wing back and see what happens there. Because that's what it's all about, right? That's what pre-season's all about, right? It's about trying things, and I don't think having, obviously they've been out in the heat and the humidity, and they got absolutely roasted in those training sessions out there. They're coming back. It's a bit more kind of, let's just say, normal weather, let's just say, with the way that it is here in the UK at the moment, and to give people more than the 45 minutes, give them the 60 minutes and see what happens. But look, Conte knows what he's doing, right? We're, like you said about us not being accountants, we're not football managers. So he knows exactly what he needs to do to get those players ready for Southampton. And again,
sorry, Barry, just quickly, let me interject. I'm going to let you finish your point, but then at the end of it, I want you to also include, do you think that 4 pre-season friendlies was enough? Because I seem to remember back in the day, we'd have like 9, 10 games, a game every other day against like Southend United, and like we'd have more time to experiment. 4 pre-season friendlies, is that enough? We've got 1 game after tomorrow, and you still want to see us experimenting with Lucas Moura if we're not sure whether he can do it or not? Sorry, carry on with your point. Include that into your answer.
No, that's fine. I think if you look at what everyone else is doing in terms of pre-season friendlies, I don't know who else is going to have the 5, 6, 7 games, right? Because United have played 3, maybe.
Yeah, because everyone goes on tours now because it makes money, right? Whereas you stay at home, you can do like fucking a game every other day.
So everyone's gone away to either America or Australia or Asia or what have you. So is it enough? Probably not. I would say you'd probably like maybe the 5 or 6. But because of the way that the season is starting earlier, we've kind of got what we've got, right? Because the season finished, then you had all those...
Oh, yeah, of course. The season does start a couple of weeks later, doesn't it? You're right,
The season finished, you had those worthless UEFA Nations League or whatever games that there were that no one was really interested about because everyone had kind of finished. And then you had to kind of give 2 or 3 weeks off, and then they're back into pre-season. So I guess with the way that it was falling into place, they wanted to go to South Korea, because that was from a commercial point of view, and that was what they would kind of promise pre-COVID. And then obviously there was one that they wanted to get one done in the UK, and then obviously we've got the friendly in Israel as well for everything else. So we can't have really got much. We can't really, get much more in there unless you want to play
that's a good point.
Game on Wednesday. So,
and of course, like I think Chris is saying, the World Cup starting earlier, obviously the season finishing later, like you're saying, because of the Nations League thing, plus the money spin that is Korea. That takes like 3 or 4 days out of the preseason. And a few other people here are saying it doesn't matter, like the formations and everything else is worked out on the training ground, so the matches is just fitness. It's an interesting dichotomy when you throw in all those variables and you come out with 4 is the answer of the reasonable amount of games. I don't know. Koof, go on, Koof. How do you feel about it, mate?
Nail hit on the head when I was saying about it's all about money in pre-season now. You're not going to go to Leyton Orient and pull in big crowds and have huge sponsorship bashes afterwards. Tour de Korea, obviously, that's where our big money is at the moment.
I wonder how much money we made from that. What do you reckon? 30 million?
Probably take over about 1.5 million Sunny shirts and sell them.
Yeah. 100%.
God knows how much. It'll be a lot though, won't it? Great to see that level of support. But I think the days are gone of those little friendlies, and many of them against the little clubs, because training has come a long way. You've got a lot more intensity within the training, a lot more competition within training. Yeah, and people are just saying, yeah, right. You do look at your formations there. You do work on your tactics and formations, but the friendlies are still important, because the one thing you can't do in the training is add that little essence of unpredictability. You don't quite know what opposition players do and what their teams are going to do. And it's something that's out, rather than having this routine in training where you get used to other players, you've got to play against teams where they do something you're not expecting. You've got to see how your players adapt to that. Getting caught out, getting put under pressure on things they're just not used to dealing with, then that's the time to do it. And that's the time you're going to get caught out. So you want to play some decent quality teams when you're doing that. And you're a team that's going for, looking to push on to try and win a title within the next few years, or looking to do well in the Champions League, or winning domestic trophies. You can't just be constantly doing the little clubs pre-season and think it's like the 1980s again. We've moved well on from that now. Much more sports scientific, and the likes of Will Stewart with his stats and everything else. He's having another great conversation.
Yeah, great debate tonight between him and King Hoddle. Yeah.
I would say though, one thing to throw back at Will at times is when he says that the eye test means nothing, or it's all about emotions, judging players. I used to be able to judge players without the need for Opta. I didn't need the stats to see who a good player was. People didn't need it in the past either. There'll be some sort of rudimentary form of it, but there was no need for all this deep analysis on it and to judge who a great player was. It is useful in the overall picture, but it's not the be all and end all. It's just a fine line when you're not sure on some players and they seem very, very similar. Have a look, delve into the stats, then perhaps you make decisions there. I think that's what the likes of Liverpool are doing. It's when you get to that elite level that then those little 5% differences make a big difference on the overall difference between winning and losing the league title. Look at the way City and Liverpool go. So different times. It is what it is now. We got our limited pre-season friendlies. I think it's the right amount because the training is so intensive. You don't want to be burnt out before the first game of the season. You want to be just
peaking,
just in the right place. Yeah.
And just on that quickly before I come to Brian, who do you want to see? The same question I asked Bazza. Do you still want to see at some point something like a first 11, or do you not really mind if it's two versions of somewhat first team, somewhat second team tomorrow?
Sorry.
Sorry, just to finish you off, Coop.
You walked into that one.
So I just started looking at comments again. I'll completely.
No, I'll ask you again. Do you want to just to finish off about the game tomorrow against Rangers? Do you want to see something like a first team 11?
Yeah. Start with the strongest team we've got.
And what does that look like for you? Who does that look like? Go on, quickly belt it out.
Well, they're not all fit. That's the trouble, isn't it? I mean, ideally, but this won't be the team because they're not all that already. But it would be Lloris, Perisic, Jed Spence, Dyer, Longley, Romero, Bissouma, Bentancur, and then the front three is obviously going to be Sonny, Kane, and Kulusevski at the moment.
Who is your right wing back? Sorry,
Jed Spence. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I like that. I'll probably take the same pick. Brian, same two questions to you, mate. What do you want to see from the 11? And also, do you think that the pre-season frequency of games was enough?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to start with the pre-season. The pre-season, I think 4 games is enough nowadays. Yes, we do it all for the money, but if you look at it, Antonio Conte is so meticulous in what he's doing, and we see how grueling his training is. And I think it was Ali Gold that said when he was in Korea, he had that look that he just wanted to be anywhere rather than doing the media stuff. He wanted to be on the pitch or have the boys on the going over videos and stuff. I think for him, it is so. I can imagine it being on the training ground. Like, you know, when people go, we stay here till we do it right. I don't care if we have to do it 100 times, 1,000 times, we ain't moving till we get it right. So when they go onto the pitch, it's so drummed into them. Obviously, you don't get the same as a match day experience when you do it. But I think 4 games is enough now. Even if the World Cup wasn't here, I think Antonio Conte would rather have the time on the training pitch, especially with new players coming in to get them up to the standard of fitness that he wants, as opposed to playing regularly. And I think 4 games nowadays is going to be the common thing. And I think with Antonio Conte, the longer that man and his the set piece take coach, the fitness coach, can keep these players. Look what we did with Pochettino, with the fitness levels being so high and the goals we scored late on in games, all came from that strict fitness regime. So for me, 4 games, like Cooper said, back in the day when we played, and like you said, Southend and all this is before the money and you're pissed off all over the world and spend time going there. So that's taken over it, and that's part of the game now. We have to accept it. So I kind of accept that. I'd rather, if Conte, I think that 4 games is enough, and Conte would rather the time on the training pitch than regular games against, like we were saying, Southend or whoever it may be. But what I expect to see tomorrow, I mean, Kuba and I discussed this with my views on the first 2 games. The first 2 games, to me as a fan, not Conte, I didn't care about the formation. I didn't care. Well, I did care about the formation. I just didn't care if we won or lost. What I wanted to see was performances, fitness, and literally.
And were you happy? Did you see what you wanted to see, or were you overall?
Well, I fell asleep through most of the Sevilla game. I fell asleep after Harry Kane's goal after getting up at 5 a.m. for the pump up. Right. I kind of was a bit shattered, but you saw just from that training, we saw where they collapsed or were throwing up, whatever. That's what I wanted to see. That toughness, that physicality, that mental strength that they're going to take from it is what I wanted to see. So I want to see our team being worked damn fucking hard. Not like Mourinho. Yeah, we're training on the pitch and the fitness. You do what you want to do, and kind of you're left to your own demise. Your own device. So that was not what I wanted to see. This is, but then when it comes to Rangers and Roma, I always said these games now we're getting so close. These games do matter to me. These games really matter to me.
Yeah.
Well,
do you want to see Fraser Foster? He's got a lot of history with Celtic, right?
Yeah, I mean,
if he gets 45 minutes, it's going to be a bit of a spicy reception for him, no doubt.
He may get that. I think he may get more time in Israel because he's recovering from COVID and everything. So I think he may get. I wouldn't be surprised now you've mentioned that added twist that he might get some time, but I think he might get more time in Israel. But like Nick was saying with Mora, if Mora's there and he plays at right back, to me, this is a clear indication that he is going to be played there, or not regularly, but that is your position. These games now, I want to see. I don't necessarily want to see the first team all together in this game that's going to start Southampton, but I want to see the main players and the main people that he has in this team to start getting more than 45 minutes.
Yeah.
This
yeah,
is where you start getting 65, 70, whatever, because you've got to get your match fitness up. So
And
whether it's
who are they?
Harry Kane, obviously, Heung-min Son, whoever is going to play in the midfield too.
And who do you want? Who do you want those two to be? Just out of curiosity.
In the midfield, you know what? Again, like I said, I think when it comes to it, I think what we'll see at Southampton, I think what is deserving at Southampton is Bentancur and Højbjerg, just because again the way they played last season. But the one I'm loving the idea of Bentancur and Skip. I'm loving Basuma with any of them.
Yeah.
I want to see Basuma. Basuma, I definitely want to see.
Would you at least? I don't know how everyone feels about this one, but I felt like I didn't think Højbjerg and Skip. I don't think Skip's had a good preseason at all. As much as
Højbjerg hasn't had the best.
I don't think Højbjerg has. I think on both occasions when Bentancur's came on, Bentancur's had a really good preseason.
Yeah. So all right, so let's put it that way then. To answer that question, I'll say Bentancur, and maybe that second spot is up for grabs.
Yeah,
is what I would say. So Bentancur, I think, is shoo-in. So let's say with what I was saying, players getting more minutes, I want to see Bentancur do that. Obviously, Romero. But this is what I want to see. I don't care if Romero comes on 30 minutes into the first half and plays the rest, or plays not 70 minutes. These games, and then obviously when it goes to Roma, I expect the same thing, because the main players that are going to start need to start getting the constant minutes in their legs and get it going. So these two games mean a lot to me. The result means a lot to me. Everything about
even the result tomorrow. If we play well but we lose the game, yeah.
Put it this way, if we play well and we lose, that's sport. It may happen, but we can say, you know what, we played well. It doesn't matter. I'd rather we played well and lost now, rather than 2-3 weeks time and then throughout.
Yeah.
So listen, we even last season and every season when Tottenham Hotspur play, if we lose a game but we gave it our all, I come away as a supporter pissed off that we lost, but I know the boys gave everything on the pitch. Last season, under Nuno, and games like Burnley, under Conte and other games, we haven't done ourselves justice. And we've all been furious with the fact that we've lost in the performance. I'm okay if obviously I'm not okay with it, but if we lose and we played our hearts out and we're unlucky, then that's sport. You win, you lose. But you get to the point now where whereas nothing really mattered to me in the first two games, apart from fitness, people would just getting used to the new team. From tomorrow, the serious shit for me starts.
Yeah, okay. All right, love it, mate. Love it, Brian. I agree with once again, mate. I agree with what you're saying,
mate. You got. Well, I'll get a tattoo. Me and Sean agreed on everything on this day.
Remember this day. We got a super chat from my man Will Stewart. He's been in a massive debate all evening in the comments. Alex, I'm going to come to you for your take in just a second. Let me just get to this one first. Will saying, if you want me to come on and debate stats, I will, but don't equivocate stats and analysis. If you saw something happen, you saw a stat, how you feel about that is your feelings, mate. I'm guessing you're aiming that at
me or
King Hoddle, I think. Or were you aiming it at Coof?
Well, I was calling Will out a little bit in the chat here, wasn't I? Because of what's happening.
Oh.
But
Will, you've got the link, mate.
It's just a huge conversation again, isn't it?
I don't agree with stats at all. Like I said, I think it's absolute crap.
Well, I got nowhere to go. I know that in 10 minutes. 1 second, Alex. I know that in 10 minutes, Nick's got a drop. So, well, you're more than welcome to come on, bro, and have it. I'm okay with moving the conversation that way. But I do appreciate the super chat. It means the world. Unnecessary, of course, as always. But I really appreciate it, my man. And I love stats. I've been learning stats under your tutelage, and I might have fallen in love with them a little bit under the long way thing. But mate, yeah, if you want to come on, bro, come on. I'm not sure who you were aiming that at. He might have been aiming it at Coov. He might have been aiming it at someone.
Oh, it would have been at me. I was calling out. It's fair enough. He's
okay.
Oh no,
I could argue as well, bruv, because I don't
Yeah.
think that's amazing. I think it's a load of crap as well, to be honest with you.
All right, Will, you've got to come
I
on then,
wouldn't- I
bro.
wouldn't go
You
that
know
far.
what? I have to say, I have thoroughly loved this summer
I'm saying
where
it.
there are debates going on left, right, centre, and I just sit back and I'm not a
Yeah,
part
I
of
know.
any of. It's such a wonderful feeling.
I had like 3 debates in like a week, and it's been like I squeezed my entire like conflict
It's a
into
wonderful feeling. I'm
7
enjoying
days.
this. I'm enjoying this. I'm not losing my temper. I'm not going nuclear. I'm just relaxing. I'm just enjoying it. It's a wonderful thing to be doing.
It's good. It's good. It's nice, man. It's nice being peace and quiet. But yeah, Will, if you want to come on, I think we've got somebody else coming on. I think James from Spurs Related is going to pop on in a second as well. Wants to give his say on a few things we've been talking about. So before we're going to come to Alex now on tomorrow, mate, the friendly. 2 questions, like I said before. A, what do you want to see from it? What's your first 11? And the other part is, do you think that Spurs have had enough friendlies for Conte to get some real-time ability to judge against competitive football?
Well, I think it's like I said at the beginning. I think there has been a plan in place. If you listen to Alistair Gold, he clearly said what the plan was. You know, the friendlies that were put in place were put in place for a reason. You know, he's put in place the game against Seville because he knew after that hard training session that they did, could they last in a game against a very hard team, and see how they can cope with it. If they could, you know, with all that energy they put in the training, who's going to last in a match that is tough, hard hitting, where players are not going to be taking it easy, like the K-League team, where Dyer scored an absolutely a goal that I could have scored in my sleep, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean? Because
Oh, Alex, come on, mate.
well, no, I'm sorry, I'm being honest. Do you know what I mean?
I could have scored that goal.
Bigging up. You know what I mean?
Delete-
So
delete,
you know,
Alex, delete.
and then you got Rangers. That is another like sort of derby. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing, as you know, good test as well. Then you got Roma, that is going to be an even more harder test as well. So I think it's very good, and it's intensive training. Then you've got your, you know, the guy that can train set pieces as well. So it's all meticulously planned very well. So I've got to give him a lot of probs, Conte, for that sort of training. We'll see whether this really works out during the season, though. You see what I'm saying? Which we can only make conclusions, you know, towards the end of the season, isn't it? Really, you have to be honest. In terms of the game tomorrow, it's just a training exercise. It's just fitness. I'm not that bothered. I ain't that bothered at all if we win or not lose, as far as I'm concerned. You know, as long as we know how we're playing and stuff, you know, there's not really that much you can take from it. Only fitness and how we cope with this sort of, you know, opposition we're playing, and that's it. I'm not taking too much from it. One thing I will say, people need to get off Skip's back, because as far as I'm concerned, this guy has been injured. He's been injured. Just to remind people, he's been injured. This is not Harry Winks we're talking about. This is Harry Skip, by the way, who bantered.
Who's on Skip?
I don't know who Harry Skip is.
Who's on Skippy's back? No one's on Skippy. Everyone loves Skippy.
Championship, by the way. Banter the championship, by the way. Yeah. Look at how Norwich has gone straight back down, by the way. Yeah.
Who's on Skip's back?
No one's on Skip's back, though, are they?
Well, if Skip was in that team, bruv, yeah, they would stayed up 100%. So let's not go there with him, man.
I haven't seen anybody get on
Skip's
Skip's back.
Well, no, because everybody's saying that he played crap in pre-season.
Oh, I said it. No,
he had a bad game.
He had a bad game.
No, let the boss teach you some lessons, bruv. Yeah, right, okay. He's been injured. Yeah, and he's done better. He was doing better than Højbjerg all day long. Your hero, the Viking, we called him. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned,
but whether he's been injured or not, whether he's injured or not is irrelevant if he played bad that day.
No, Will.
Yes,
no,
Alex.
No,
it's irrelevant.
No, Will.
If you took a dump today, it doesn't change the fact that you didn't take a dump yesterday.
Will. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I'm not having it. Okay, Skip. Mates made Højbjerg look good last season until he got injured, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
He was that good, yeah. Conte was getting wound up because how much he was getting injured all the time.
Okay.
So don't talk that rubbish to me, bruv, man.
Irrelevant to whether he played bad last week or not.
That's rubbish, bruv. I don't
If you ate nachos for dinner last night,
let me dig a hole for
it's
himself,
irrelevant to the fact that you have diarrhea today. Right?
Oh please, Will. Honestly,
it doesn't matter.
Will,
it doesn't matter why.
2 years ago about Davis.
You either had diarrhea or you don't have diarrhea.
What did you say about Davis 2 years ago, bruv? You said to me about some other player, some nobody. Yeah, look what Davis is doing now. People are saying that.
What about what Davis is doing now?
Bruv? Who said that? Who said that? Me. So don't go there, bruv, man.
All right, wait, boys. Before we chime in, just want to say. There's 3 things I want to do. First of all, welcome, James. How you doing, my man?
Hello, boys. What have I joined here? I have no idea, honestly.
Madness is what you've joined.
I thought we were going to wrap it up, and then suddenly we're going to keep going. But and also, welcome, Will. How you doing, my man? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right, before we get going, Nick, it's probably the best time for you to. You've only got 8 minutes left anyway. Probably a great time for you to jump.
James, if you need anything posting, just ask Alex because he's Mr. Post Office, yeah?
Mr. Post Office to you, bruv, man. I'll make you famous in 5 minutes, bruv, because you waffle too much, bruv, man. You know what I mean? I'll make you famous 2 minutes, bruv, so don't go there, bruv, man.
He thinks he's Eminem.
Here we go.
He thinks he's Eminem.
Amazing.
I just like being next to you because it makes me look like a Harvard graduate philosopher when I sit next to you on a show.
It's that sort of time today, Bob.
Wait, boys. Let me take the chance. Nick, thank you so much for coming on, my man. What's happening on your channel? Let me get my links up for you. Talk about. Is there an announcement coming out about Shelfside soon, or
there is some exciting news. I'm not going to say it yet. There is some exciting news coming about with Shelfside, and I'm going to give you a teaser. It's a little collaboration. I'm just going to say that and leave it like that. So. Yeah, we're gonna be back 4th of August. We've had a summer off. Obviously, I've been just kind of floating around and just relaxing a little bit. But yeah, we're back from the 4th of August with our regular Thursday show. There's going to be a collab coming, which is going to be incredible, and more will be revealed soon. And yeah, I'm going to jump over. If I stay awake, I'm going to jump over on United Spurs of America now. I'll be on In the Wall tomorrow night again if I stay awake. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to cope with 3 streams. It's like Kuva, 3 streams in like 2 days. It's going to be like insane. So
before we go, I got a question. I got a question for you, Barry.
Okay.
Are you awake or are you not awake?
What? When my eyes are open?
What is going on?
When my eyes are open,
right now, are you awake or are you not awake?
I'm awake.
You're awake. Are you sure?
Yes.
Why? See, it's a dumb question, right? You're either are or you aren't. It's either A or not A, right? For right now. Yeah. So when people get tied up into the whys and the whys, they become a sophist, right? That's for you, Alex.
And guys, have fun because I feel this is going to be electric.
Yeah. Cheers, Nick. Love you, man. Love you both. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Guys, everyone, Shelfside Spurs link is in the chat. Please just hit the link. You can see it on the screen. Find it 6 comments up, 10 comments up. Just hit the link, hit the subscribe button, show some love to Nick and Barry Ranjit, wherever you know him as. He's an absolute legend, and I really want to show and say thank you to him for coming on. Back down to the superb 6, the Super 6. James, I feel like you've you might have walked into a firefight that's about to happen. I'm going to come to you first, man. I'm going to give you a chance to answer some questions before I let these two go off on the stats and everyone else and Kuva and everyone else get stuck into it. Let's just finish the conversation about Rangers tomorrow. James, what do you want to see? I also want to know, do you think that did Tottenham get enough friendlies? Do we have enough friendlies? Did money take over and it has run us like a little bit short-sighted on the ability to trial new things? We've got 6 players in. 2 games out of the 4 done, only one of them has played a fucking, a minute of football. Is it too few minutes to experiment now? Like, what are your thoughts? And also, what do you want to see out of the game? Do you want to see something like your first 11 at some point put together? And who are they?
Yeah, I think for sure. Like, I heard your debate about this. Like, is it too little games? And when we used to play like 9 or 10 games, don't forget when we played like Leyton Orient or Enfield Town, we're putting out not our best team in every game, right? So you got to consider that. Like, sometimes you just think, well, the under 21 games will replicate what they're going to do anyway. But the other thing is, like, do I think it's too fewer games? Not really, because the more games you play, the more chance you risk an injury at the end of the day as well. So you don't want to be doing, excessive work before the season starts. You could argue maybe 1 or 2 more, but at the end of the day, I think it was, it's been an all right preseason. I don't think the Sevilla game went particularly, well, but at the end of the day, we've scored a decent amount of goals in the other ones. And I think, to be honest, Rangers are actually a really good team. They're probably going to be one of the best teams that we've faced. And I think Rangers, they got to the Europa League final. Yes, they lost in the end, but I think they're a very, very strong team. And I want to see us put out a very good team. I think Basuma hasn't really had a chance. Obviously, he had COVID. And like you said, only 1 or 2 of them have played so far. So it would be good to see all of them come in. What 11 do I want to see? I kind of went through it the other day. I think, Sean, you might have been there, but for sure I want to see, obviously, Lloris in goal. Then the 3 at the back, I would put in Longley just to see what he does at left centre-back. I would also put in centre-back Dyer because I think he actually been decent so far. Definitely avoid Davinson Sanchez. The guy, don't get me started. Like, I just don't think Davinson Sanchez is the kind of quality we should be getting. Right centre-back, if available, Romero. Then the wing backs is obviously the one that's the big debate at the moment. And Brian was on the channel yesterday when we talked about this, and a lot of people are going for Spence right wing back. I don't know if he's been in training today, hasn't he? So I guess he's available for this one. But if I'm talking about the starting 11 for the season, I want to see Matt Doherty starting right wing back, just because I think he was phenomenal for those 6-7 games. He then obviously got a very unfortunate injury. But at the end of the day, people saying Jed Spence, forget about Doherty. His form before that was poor. I think you've got to go with how Matt Doherty was doing it before he got injured. And to be honest with you, he was genuinely one of our better players. He was providing goals for Harry Kane and Son. He was in amongst the assists and goals. He was playing really solidly. I could not really fault Matt Doherty for those few games. I mean, against Everton, he literally turned into like Cafu. It was ridiculous. So I'd go for Doherty if at all possible. Then left wing back, I think obviously there's talks about, bringing in Perisic for the first couple of games as a left wing back. Reguilon looks like he's on his way out. So then that probably leaves Sessegnon. I would say putting him there would probably make most sense.
Perisic's got 30 minutes in him, hasn't he?
Perisic could, definitely feature. But in terms of the start, maybe you bring Perisic on later in the game, depending how it's gone. He could play a more forward position as well. Don't forget, he's very used to playing as a left winger. The 2 centre mids would definitely, for me, I think we've got to try out the partnership of Basuma and Bentancur. I think that is going to be our starting centre mid partnership for this season. I think a lot of people saying Højbjerg. I do understand he had a decent season, especially at the back end, but also at the same time, you've got to go with your best 11. And for me, Basuma and Bentancur are better players than Højbjerg overall. And then the front 3, I guess, if again available, I need to check all the injury news, but I guess Kane, Son, and you've got to say probably give Richarlison a go, because we know what Kulusevski can do in that front 3. It's time for experimental kind of. We haven't seen very much of Kulu though, have we? We've seen a little bit of Richarlison. We haven't seen very much of Kulu. He's been injured. He missed the first game. What did he play in the second game? Do you know when I would play Kulusevski? I would play him the last game before the season starts, because obviously he's going to be playing. Richarlison's not available for that game, so I would almost use that one as more of a starting 11 for the next game, which will obviously be Southampton. So I think play Richarlison in this one, maybe bring Kulusevski on and see what happens. But it's exciting times. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys that. The people watching are excited enough. And I mean, yes, it's meant to be used as experimental time, but also time to kind of bed in these new signings as soon as possible. I think that's got to be said.
Love it, mate. Absolutely gorgeous fucking comments from you, James, from the gorgeous man himself. Listen, what I'm going to say to you right now, James, is, and I'm going to say the same to Kuba, and the other three don't need to know this, but I think from this point on, I'm still going to ask Will the same question I asked you guys, but I can see this is going to be a bit of a debate, and I'm just going to say that I'm not going to be able to control. I feel like it's going to go a little bit like everywhere.
Wonky.
So if you want to participate in it, you got to fight and claw with your fingernails to get some airtime, right? Because I just feel it's going to be one of those where, like, I can even see Alex doing the fucking neck warm ups. I can see him.
I'm a bit scared of Alex. I can't lie. I think I've been on one podcast and he's scared to shit out of him.
I need to get like a ding, like a door, like a ding ding. Round one. I'm going to start with. I can already see Will's asked me to bring up his screen. We'll do that in a minute. But I'm not. Is what you're asking me to bring up? Is that about Rangers or is it about stats?
Oh, it's just about the argument of statistics.
Okay, well, let's pause on that. We can bring that up in a minute.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, Will, I do want to hear your overall take on the Rangers game. Same question, man. Do we have enough minutes, enough friendlies, and have we seen enough from the new guys?
I think right now, like financially, going to Korea was probably a good choice, but from the fact that it's a country that still has a lot of COVID restrictions, I think it hurt us a little bit. Like Benzema and Forster would have been able to play if that friendly was somewhere else that didn't have a quarantine or like the US or someplace else, right?
Super strict, yeah.
If you're vaccinated, you come to the US, there's no quarantine, there's no nothing. Even if you have COVID, there's no test, there's no nothing, right? So I think the UK is that way now too. So it may have been a mistake to go there because it put two of those new signings a week behind everybody else. So that might have been a judgment error. Then you have going into Rangers. Yeah, I mean, I think the other guys have gotten enough time that you could just throw in some new guys. I mean, it's preseason. You want to get as many minutes and legs as you can before you have to go to the regular season. But yeah, I mean, we've got to see them because right now the only person that we've seen is Richarlison.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's worrying. For me, it's worrying. But I also take James's point. You know, playing against the likes of Enfield Town or Southend or Leyton Orient like we did 5-6 years ago. There's not much you can learn from those games either way. And like you said, James, we were always just. It was a lot of under 21 players, etc. So I don't know. There's method to the madness, I'm sure. But
I think the quality's been a little bit higher. Like the fixtures have been a little bit more difficult, other than the first one, Rangers and then Roma. I mean, these are going to be fixtures that
you might come up against. You might
something in. But like it's different, and you may be saving yourself a little bit of embarrassment because if you go out there and get beat 4-0 by an MLS team, I mean that's kind of a kick in the nuts, don't you think? So
the other thing I would say, just very very quickly about the preseasons, is I think this preseason was okay, but I think one of the best preseasons we had was under, I think it was still Poch 2019. We played like Real Madrid. I think Harry Kane scored from halfway line. We played Inter Milan. They're the kind of caliber of opponents I want to be seeing in it.
That was the Audi Cup, wasn't it?
I think it was before that, wasn't it? It was in America. I think it was Real Madrid.
Oh, the ICC.
Milan. Yeah.
The ICC was a good preseason tournament, but since COVID, that's gone. It may kick back up next year, but
yeah. Just a quick shout out to Everton, who lost, was it 4-0 to an MLS team, and I'm sure everyone's seen it by now. Dele Alli's miss.
Oh, it's over the top, man. Just leave it, bruv, man. About Dele Alli, bruv, man. It's fine. He got into the position. Just leave it, bruv. Like the guy, man. No, I'm not a fan of the guy. But
why do you care?
But it's just like I'm not even a fan of it. But it's just like just let it go, man. Let it go with this whole. Gender.
No, hey, I wish Dele Alli well, but it's still something to.
I feel bad for
him. The guy's left, yeah, and it's still going on, saying, "Oh, he's going down, he's going down, he's going down."
Alex, listen, I promise you one thing in life: Dele Alli does not give a flying fuck when you get a lot of heat on the comments, bro. So stop giving a fuck if he gets a little bit of heat.
Like I say, Mr. Box Office don't really care, bruv. It's all fun and games for me, Alex. At the end of the day, it's food and drink for me, bruv, all day long, bruv. But the point I'm saying is, people going on about this whole thing about he misses in the mud and everything else, all this rubbish. Like, bro, he got into the position, like, I mean, Everton are
Got beat 4-0 by MLS, bro.
Bad position. A very
beat
bad
4-0
position.
by Minnesota, a poor MLS team at
I'm
that.
not concerned about Dele Alli, but okay, we need to quickly get out of this debate.
All right, we'll move on. We'll move on from the conversation.
My point is, Everton's concern is more about Lampard than more than Dele Alli. Let's just say that, and we move on, and that's it. And everybody knows why. Everybody knows why.
God forbid we should laugh at someone who gets paid a lot of money. And
your passion for Dele Alli, I want to see your passion for the Spurs players. It must be absolutely.
Can we not laugh at Gallagher's penalty?
Bob, I've said this already, Bob. I pay my money already, Bob. That's my passion, Bob. Let's move on. Bob.
Can we not laugh at Gallagher's penalty?
Let's get over it, Bob. Move on. Let's get on with it. You know what I mean?
All right, listen. I'm gonna go get some ice, but I'm gonna bring this up. Will, what is it you want to say? You brought up the super chat, and I really appreciate you, man.
Oh God.
Yes. Now it is teacher Will time. I'm gonna do this. Let me land before you interrupt. All right. The statistic.
Love Island.
The statistic. The definition of statistic is a fact or piece of data from a study of a large quantity of numerical data, an event, or a person regarded as no more than a piece of data. That is a statistic.
Oh,
okay, that's the definition of statistic, a fact. So, fact or piece of data. So let's look at the definition of fact. A fact is a thing that is known or proved to be true.
Oh right? My gosh.
In law, the truth about events as opposed to the interpretation, right? So let's look at data. What is data? Facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis.
Oh, here we go.
What's the definition of true? In accordance with a fact or reality, right? Now, the difference between your guys is what you guys think a stat is the problem. You're equivocating the analysis of statistics with the statistic itself. It is either true or false that Son scored 23 goals last season. He either did or he did not. That is the stat. Stop, let me land. Listen. Okay. So you saying that stats are rubbish, that you don't believe in them, that means you don't believe in facts. That means you don't believe in reality, right? There is no interpretation of stats. It either is or is not, period.
Oh, here we go.
You, therefore, if you reject statistics, you are rejecting reality, which means you are irrational, not logical or reasonable. What is the definition of logic? Of according to the rules of a logic or a formal argument. Okay? Reasonable. A person having sound judgment, being fair and sensible. So when you reject statistics, you are admitting that you are irrational, illogical, and unreasonable. It's not something that you should be proud of. Okay? Anything that you see with your anything you see with your eyeball is an event that happened in what? Reality. When you see a person take a step on the pitch, that is a statistic. Okay? You may object to different analyses, right? Different analyses of those statistics, right? That's okay. You can argue the analysis, the interpretation of the data. You cannot debate the data. It either happened, you cannot. It either happened or it did not.
Okay, but we don't need a definition of words, man. Come on.
Obviously they do, because they don't know what statistics mean. You can't say you reject statistics or statistics are bullshit. It is either a fact that something happened or it did not. When you see something with your eyes, if you see Dele Alli kick a ball, it is either a fact that he kicked that ball or it is not a fact.
Will, who are you arguing with here?
Kuva and Alex. At the same time.
Simple. Why am I rejecting statistics? I'm not.
You said, the statistics, that the eye test meant more, that you didn't need statistics to tell you that somebody was a good player.
Yeah,
if you saw that player do something, you were watching statistics.
But
did you watch the event? Hold on. Did you watch them kick the ball? Yes or no?
Well, in that case, everything that ever happens is a statistic.
Exactly. Everything that actually happens in the world is a
I'm
statistic.
not rejecting that it happened. I'm rejecting the fact that that should be the sole means by which you evaluate the worth or the talent of a player.
Whether you're looking at the information on a piece of paper or you're looking at the information live, you're looking at the same information. Right? So you're throwing one out for the other.
Example. Remember Luka Modric's outstanding pass in the Champions League final?
Okay.
Outside of the boot, held in the player's bar.
Sure.
Say, 35, 40-yard pass, something like that?
Yep. Assist.
Statistically, it's got exactly the same tick as the Brentford ball against Chelsea. That's a hopeful lob forward 40 yards, and Tony gets onto the end of it and bangs it in.
Yes, because an assist is assist.
Boom! That's it. That's all you need to say, Bob, man. Boom.
Okay, so wait. So what you're saying is that assist made you feel more excited than another assist.
Bill, stop it, please.
No, that's true.
I'm saying that somebody that's capable of spraying a ball with the outside of their boot over that distance is far more talented than somebody that just provides the evidence that they can help.
That's your subjective opinion.
But lads, we're getting into semantics of what a statistic is, right? Can we break it down to what really, what the debate really is? Okay, is not.
No, this is what the debate really is, though, Sean. Because people misconstrue what statistics are.
No, I know, but what their version of stats are is the version that most.
No, there is no
of.
their version. There is what stat is and what it is not.
Okay, but when people in the comments are saying that, Will, you spend too much time looking at stats, right? They're not suggesting that you spend too much time looking at football matches, and that they don't recognize that as being a stat. What they're really saying is that you spend too much time looking at a player on FB refs and saying that this guy has scored this many goals, this many games, this many assists, and forgetting the context of it, and therefore that makes this player a good player.
Hold on. Then they have to demonstrate that I have forgotten the context of it, right? This is the problem. People make blanket, red herring, fallacious statements that don't apply into reality. You can either argue the analysis, right? How my interpretation of the data is fine, right? But present an argument. But to simply, right, completely just dismiss it is irrational.
I know, but what I'm saying is to come on and say, but to spend time explaining that people that go to the games and have the eye test, well, that's still a stat. Therefore, if you hate stats, you hate your version of.
Because my argument is
that's not really what they're saying. If you
it is what they're saying, because what they're saying, what they're really saying is the way that makes them feel, right? They're objecting to the reality, because a lot of people will say, like our friend Alex over here, that Ben Davies is a better player than Reguilon, right? Yeah. But the statistics, he'll completely dismiss reality, which is what statistics are, facts, right, for his own feelings.
No, I get
and
that.
When you reject facts for your feelings, you are an irrational, illogical, unreasonable person by definition.
I get what you're saying. But can you also acknowledge that there's no need to explain the meaning of a word and to assume?
No, because he doesn't know what the meaning of the word is. They think stats are something they're not.
I'll summarize what Alex and everybody else who doesn't agree with you on the stat. Nobody's saying that what happened is not a stat. Of course it is. But all Alex is saying is that I judge a player from what I see.
No, from his feelings.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine, right?
Not see, because that's the thing. I see it with my eyes. I don't need the numbers.
Okay,
that's your feeling.
That's the whole point of my
he
example.
places a higher weighting.
You'll make
his
it.
opinion.
So admit that it's your feelings and not your eyes. Admit it's your feelings and not your eyes.
Oh, bruv, man. All I need to do is banter you, bruv, all day long with Romero, bruv, man. All I need to say is Romero, bruv, man.
What about Romero?
No. Let Mr. Botsford teach you some lessons now, bruv. It's my time now. My time. My time to make it all good. You know what I mean? Romero, I had two people that were telling me this guy's world class. I told them we're talking absolute nonsense. First time I see him against Chelsea, banters the team out the building, bruv.
Define world class.
Banters him out the team, bruv.
Define world class.
Doesn't give the strikers a kick, bruv. Doesn't give him the strikers a kick, bruv. That's what he does.
Define world class.
Bruv, I didn't say he's world class. I just said that he bantered that team out the building, bruv.
Okay, define banter.
I didn't need statistics to tell me that, bruv. That's all they can say, bruv.
Banter.
I'll tell you, because he didn't get a kick. The striker did get a kick.
So bantered is the striker didn't get a kick?
did not get a kick, bruv.
So he didn't take it. He didn't take a shot that whole game. What game was that?
They weren't even strikers, bruv.
What game was that?
Even there, they were anonymous.
What game was that?
That's all I need to say.
So you said your eyes told you that. Hold on, your eyes told you that striker didn't get a kick. I bet you $100 that's wrong.
Oh well, I know what I'm talking about, bro. Because
you don't, because you just made an assertion. It's not true.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Well, we're getting into semantics and things. Look, can we just summarize? Can we?
Hold on, Sean. Before you say I'm getting into semantics and I'm being pedantic or whatever. Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Is it true or not true that he just made a claim that is most likely false? That the striker of the team that we played in that game didn't get a kick?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't. Are you sure? Yeah, but you want to bet £100 on it?
Well, what he's doing, like Alex is dealing with hyperbole, right? He's making a statement like, and
he's being irrational,
and that's fine, bro. But not everyone.
Just admit it then, and then don't come at me.
The thing is,
I get it, but not everyone's read the rules of logic, right? Not everyone, like people just talk from the heart.
Then don't shit on me, though. That's my thing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but no one should be shitting on you either. I'm not saying that. I'm not having to go at you. I'm not having to go at anyone here. I'm just saying that the debate about stats should be like just taken with a pinch of salt. Is that some people like to just watch a game of football and go, I've seen this guy enough from the game, from the TV, from the stands, whatever, and go, I like what he does or I don't like what he does. And when someone throws up a stat sheet and says Matt Doherty touched the ball 95 times in the game and therefore he got a 7.1, it doesn't mean that he had a good game because there's no content. I watched it. Most of those passes were irrelevant or they didn't lead anywhere or whatever else, right? So a lot of people and whilst you're right that they are still looking at stats when they're watching it with their eyes, but most people aren't going to get bogged down into the semantics of that. And they're just going to say, I just watch him. I don't think he's good enough. And then there's other people that will go, well, I don't know much about Indica, right? I don't watch the German league. I don't know what he's like. Let's check out the stats, like we did with Longley. Right?
It's a mix, isn't it? It's a mix of stats on watching the game. For example, you could say Milinkovic-Savic's stats are unbelievable, like they're out of this world, and then you watch him, and he might not quite be as good as what you're seeing on the stats for it. Just an example, another example I've just looked, just to be random. Memphis Depay in 2014-15 scored more goals than Harry Kane. Was he a better striker that year? No, he wasn't. So it's about stats and watching the game as well.
Why wasn't he?
What, you think Memphis Depay was better
James.
No. You think Memphis Depay was better than Harry Kane in 2015?
It depends on how we define better, right? If my definition of better is more goals and assists, then yes, he was better than Harry Kane.
Yeah, but James's isn't. Because James said
right, I'm saying, but the word better is a subjective term. For example, if I think that my wife is beautiful and you think she's ugly,
let's not go there.
Hold on. I am going there. It's my wife. I can talk about her all I want.
That's okay.
If I think she's beautiful and you think she's ugly, the fact you think she's ugly is irrelevant to me. And the fact that I think she's beautiful is irrelevant to you. It holds no weight.
But
it is less.
If we're having a conversation with the entire community about how good looking your wife is, then how do we judge it?
You'd have to define it. Like this is what happens when you have debates or you have discussions about who is better or who isn't. You have to define your terms. Yeah. Otherwise, you just have two.
But stats are not the only way.
Baseball bats smashing up against each other, talking nonsense.
The only thing I would say is what Alex said is kind of like a figure of speech. Is kind of an expression like they didn't get a touch. It's like saying the striker is on fire. He's not actually on fire. It's just
No, I know, but then when I asked him to double down on that, he doubled down on it. You see what I'm saying? When I asked him specifically, literally.
What he's saying is they didn't get many. That's what he's saying. But
what is many?
How you say?
So you got to define this. When we're having a debate, hold on. What I'm talking about is you have two people who are arguing opposite points. The only symmetry breaker. Do people know what a symmetry breaker is?
Yes.
Okay. So the only symmetry breaker is the data. What actually happened in reality. Otherwise, it's just an opinion over here and an opinion over here. Without a symmetry breaker, there is no.
The data doesn't necessarily legitimize points, though.
It doesn't tell the full story because what I'm saying is Memphis Depay
tell the full story of
Harry
what?
Kane. But listen, Depay scored more than Harry Kane in 2015. But he plays in a different league. He plays in different conditions. He plays potentially a different position in those games. So what I'm saying is stats against stats aren't always like A versus B. They could be A versus V. Do you know what I mean? It
would be A versus A, right? B versus B. That's the thing you're looking for. But then you could always define. You can always set a metric in order to do that. For example, if you take the league that they played in, by the way, in that particular situation, they were playing in the same league, Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. In that specific example,
he was playing for. No, that was the season he was at PSV, 2014.
Okay, so PSV.
15,
so then if you were to say that each goal coming out of that league is a minus 0.03, right? You would add a weight to it, right? There's a metric that you can set to compare those two pieces of data.
But none of the stats, FP refs, none of those things that you call the stat Bible, none of those do that, right? If we pulled up now,
they just hold the data. They just hold goal or not goal. That's it.
Listen, we don't have to just use this example. I was trying to make a point.
Right, I'm just using it.
Down, when stats are written down, you can't necessarily, like you said, compare A with A because it's a different league, it's a different style of football, it's a different physicality, etc.
But what I'm saying is you can, because you and I, if we're having that conversation, can agree on a metric, on a definition.
I never will agree with this. I will never.
It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not.
Agree with
Alex, we were getting somewhere then, Alex. Just
if you and I agree.
Leave me out. It's been so long since I've been in a debate.
You gotta let me land. You gotta let me land.
Yeah, go on, land.
So
Brian, what's your logic about
this story? This story of stats don't tell the full story. That's a fallacy. Okay, that is a fallacy. The story depends on the metrics that you set, the analysis you take. A stat doesn't have a story. It either is or it is not. This is what I'm trying to tell people. A statistic.
Sorry, just hang on a second before you move on. Land the plane via the emergency runway here, and that emergency runway is the stats. You say the stats do tell the full story.
No, a stat doesn't tell a story at all. There is no story. No, a statistic doesn't have a story.
Okay. So if the question is in 2014-15, just for argument's sake, just using the analogy, the example, Harry Kane, and James said people would say that Harry Kane had a better season than Depay, but the stats would show that Depay scored more goals and more.
Yeah. Okay. So if I ask him and I say, what do you define as better, right? Yeah. And he says goals and assists, and then I would say, okay, well, Memphis Depay had more goals and assists, and then he would say, but he did that in a lesser league, and then I would say, then what do you value a goal at in the Edervisor? How do you pronounce it?
Will, to play devil's advocate here, I see you in the I see you in the comments when there's conversations that have taken place on the show where you will dismiss someone's opinion because you say the stats don't add up with that, right? But you haven't defined the stats that matter before you've made the accusation that the stats don't.
Why is that the case?
Because you just said that you have to define which stats equal of an eloquent point, right? Before you can use the stats,
if a person says
you have to agree on what the stats are that make the point.
No. You don't have to agree what the stats are. For example, if somebody says this guy didn't perform well last season, and then I say, what do you mean by perform? Right.
Yeah, but I haven't. I'm saying that you don't always say that. Sometimes
I always say that. I always do.
No, I've seen you
always. Right. Unless we're talking about. Unless we're talking about somebody saying Harry Kane, scored 4 goals against so-and-so, and I say, no, it's 7, right? Or like, for instance, when David said that Højbjerg had 5 tackles, and I said, no, he had 3, right? Unless I'm talking about a specific event, right, that the number is contrary to, I always ask, what do you mean? What do you define that? You always hear me say that, right?
Okay.
Why is he a better player? Right? I'm asking why. Because people like to throw out, it's called premise dumping, where you just spew out a bunch of accusations like they're true without actually demonstrating that to be the case. Okay, I always clarify what I say.
Alex, before you do, let me just get through a couple of super chats. First of all, Bobby K, my man, I really appreciate it, buddy. Please don't ask me. We're not doing that one again, my man. We just got the dictionary definitions out a minute ago. I love you though.
Because people don't know the dictionary definitions.
No, I get it. I understand. Listen, Will, I absolutely adore you, mate. I love it, and I'm taking the devil's advocate this one because I feel like
we love Will.
I feel like we have to meet in the middle and assume that there's some common sense amongst people that we don't have to break it down.
I do have one thing to throw at Will that he's got absolutely no defense for.
You can
Go
before
for it.
before you do. Lazy Oak Nick, my man. I've been trying to call you a couple of times. We keep missing each other. I need to get this conversation happening. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I'd like to know how Will feels about how context plays into the validity of stats. We will discuss that in a second once Kuva. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nick. Sorry, Kuv. Carry on, my man.
So context is about analysis.
One that Will's got absolutely no defense for. Okay. And that's you came onto the show and you put on those glasses and you didn't give us the voice.
I didn't. No, I didn't. That was teacher voice. Those are the only glasses I've got. I don't have like teacher glasses. So I can give it for you if you want.
Okay, a question for Will.
Why would I waste my time?
A question for Will, though. A question for Will, because I think you're talking absolute rubbish, to be honest with you. But
that's fine. You're irrational. I know that.
A question. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Actually talking facts. Thank you very much.
You're not talking facts.
But let me just ask a question. What team, in your opinion, then, is statistically a very good team? Then you tell me.
The one that wins the most. Man City.
What team?
I just said it.
But what team?
Manchester City. I just said that.
Okay, so what about in the Champions League?
These.
What about in the Champions League when Chelsea won the Champions League the season before last and they won the Champions League? Are they the best team in Europe?
They were the best team in the Champions League.
But are they the best team in Europe?
They were the best team in the Champions League.
Okay, but
they weren't the best team in the Champions League.
Europe.
They were the best team in the Champions League.
Man City won the Premier League.
No, they weren't the best team in the Champions League.
Does winning a competition make you the best in the competition?
I'm trying to ask. Yeah.
No, they weren't. They weren't. Will, they weren't, mate. You know that as well, bruv. The only reason why they won that Champions League.
If you win the competition, you were the best in that competition.
So Tottenham were the second best team in the Champions League in 2019.
Yes,
exactly.
No, they weren't.
Oh, bruv, we weren't, bruv. Come on.
Yes, they were.
We got a lucky room.
Luck is irrelevant.
Oh, Will,
but luck is relevant.
Luck isn't relevant.
Will, we weren't, Will.
No. And what happens in reality,
that was the best time of my life. I've seen us in the Champions League final, bruv.
Luck does not exist.
Come on now, bruv, man. Come on now. Will, you saw that game against Manchester City, bruv. Didn't you see that game against Manchester City? Real Madrid?
Yes, I watched the game against Manchester City.
Manchester City should have bantered that team all day long, bruv, yeah?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have been born a millionaire, but I wasn't, Alex.
Man. No,
unlucky.
Man. Oh man! Oh my gosh, Will, bruv.
Luck doesn't exist.
Bruv, man. I'm
wait a minute. What do you mean luck doesn't exist?
Luck doesn't exist.
Man. Oh my gosh.
The fact that we're all having this conversation is lucky.
Everything is mathematics or physics. There is no luck.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh, Will, please.
Every roll, every roll of the roulette table, every deal of a card is math.
Oh my gosh, Will.
It's true. No, you may not like it. You may think that's boring.
It's rubbish.
It's true.
The chance of the specific sperm that your dad
physics.
What? It's biology. If anything, it's not physics, is it? It's biology.
Physics is both mathematics and science, biology, naturalism,
it's
everything.
Pure chance. It's
It's not pure
1
chance.
in a 10 billion chance of you coming out of the other end of that, rather than something else.
Yes, and that one thing was physics.
Luck. It was lucky for you. It was lucky for you, bro.
So if I fall over in the road tomorrow and I roll under a bus and don't die, are you saying that's calculated risk and mathematics, or are you saying that's luck?
Sorry, can I just ask? Is this still Spurs Talk Show?
Okay. The reason why you die or don't die has nothing. Hold on. The reason why you die or don't die doesn't have to do with special forces in the universe that have made something happen. Either if you believe in a god, either he determined that to be the case, or physics and mathematics determined to be the case. It is determined, right? It has to do with how fast that car was traveling, the angle at which that car struck your car. If it goes a half an inch the other way.
Alive, right?
But that's just a human emotion to simply rationalize an event that you can't explain. Luck.
I don't know. This conversation is going to go.
Where is this going?
You guys brought it up. I'm just saying, right?
No, listen,
lucky this, lucky that. Harry Kane was lucky when that ball bounced off the post. No, the way he struck it with his foot, at the speed it was traveling, and the angle at which it hit the crossbar determined whether that ball would go into the net or not. It's not luck. Right, there are physics at play there.
Yeah, the two can exist. The two can be the same. The two can happen at the same time. The fact that he hit the ball at that speed, the fact that he tripped over his shoelace 10 seconds before it happened, the fact that he stumbled, the fact that the goalkeeper had a sneeze a minute before, all of that stuff, that might be part of the equation, but it's also random, and therefore
it's not random.
Sure, let me do one more and see if Will can answer it.
You don't
right, a ball goes.
I do know that.
Will.
No, you don't know that.
It's physics.
Hang on, Will.
A sneeze is not physics, bro.
It is physics. A particle of dust you inhaled attached itself to your nostril and you sneezed.
That's not physics.
It is physics.
It's a process. That's just something that happened. It doesn't mean
that's what physics is.
No, it's not. Physics is like laws of fucking dynamics.
Okay, don't make me pull up the definition of physics now.
No, Will.
Okay,
no, Will.
So it is physics.
Will, one more.
You're saying it's not physics, and then you don't want me to pull up the definition. That is physics by definition.
This is the Tottenham channel, man.
One more, and then we'll move on. I was just going to say, imagine a corner goes in. Son's got his back to goal. He has no idea. He's talking to someone on the halfway line. It hits his head and goes in. Is that physics or is that luck?
It's physics.
But physics can also be attributed to luck as well.
No.
Like, that's luck as well, right?
Luck is just describing things you don't understand.
A plus B plus C plus D all happened. It doesn't mean if it wasn't deliberate, if it was unintentional, and there was a positive outcome, then it's luck.
You got people in the chat, Sean, saying Emmerdale's looking nice now.
Thank you very
much.
Luck. Yeah, good
all
point,
luck is a description of things that people cannot describe.
Unintentional positive outcomes from
nothing is unintentional.
Of course it is.
No.
Oh my god. Of course it is.
Nope.
You think you think there's zero things that are unintentional.
Correct.
This is madness.
I'm a determinist. It's not madness. It's a philosophical thing.
I think we should segue. I think we should segue right now, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, look.
Let's move on.
Anything that has to do with matter or energy is physics.
That's fine. It doesn't mean that there's no luck involved. Unintentional positive outcomes.
What is luck?
Is luck. Unintentional positive outcomes.
Unintentional positive outcomes.
Fortunes. Things that you didn't intend to happen.
So if I don't go to the store, and buy the lottery ticket, was it intentional or unintentional that I won the lottery? It never happened.
If you didn't go to the store and didn't win the lottery.
Yeah, everything you do is intentional. You either place the bet on the roulette wheel, you either go to the store and buy that, you either take the corner kick or you don't. There is an intention in every result.
The guy that wasn't paying attention to the corner kick and the ball just happened to hit him on the back of the head and then land in the goal.
He was standing there. He intended to stand there.
No, he didn't. He was he was focused. He had his attention.
Then why was he on the pitch?
That's a different thing.
He had intent to be on the pitch.
But he wasn't intended to be in that position at that particular moment. This is
it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Please let me do one more. So, you know, in about 2006, where Sunderland scored that goal against Liverpool, they hit the beach ball and went in. Mm-hmm. Are you saying the beach ball went onto the pitch so that Sunderland could score the goal?
No.
What's happening there then? Is that luck or not?
The fan intended to throw the beach ball. The player intended to kick the ball. And by its chances, it hit it. Okay?
Chance!
Not luck.
Another word for luck.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. By happenstance, right? That's what I mean by chance. By happenstance.
Yeah, fortune.
Right? It's not fortune.
BT13 saying if nothing is unintentional, then why is there a word for it?
What?
If nothing is unintentional,
we have a lot of words for things.
Therefore, it must be something, right?
We have a word for luck, and luck doesn't exist.
It does exist.
It doesn't.
I can't do this anymore. It's Friday night. It's 5 to 8.
Talk to any physicist, any scientist, anybody, and they'll ask them if luck exists.
Scientists are not the rulers of the world, my man. Scientists do not.
They're a little bit more educated on why things happen than I think 6 guys sitting on YouTube channel.
Scientists can be bought like any politician.
Sure, they can be. I agree. I agree with you 1,100%. Right? I'm not. First of all, consensus is a fallacy, in my opinion. Right? But it doesn't change. Facts happen. Something either is true or it is false.
I just lost 8 subscribers. So
great.
That's fine.
Let's segue right now. Let's do it right now. Let's segue. This is what we call it, isn't it?
What is going on?
No,
what is going on?
I don't know. Cove, do you want to? Is there any? Do you want to? I'm gonna.
Thank you, Wayne Holland. People who actually know about these things know that I'm not speaking lawful, right? Just because you're not educated on it doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Okay, let's move on now. Let's segue.
Philo, 123 coins in the super chat. Big up, my man. Thank you so much. Says Will, stats are different if they play in a different league.
Stats are different. They may be way different. A goal is a goal in both leagues.
Yeah.
Whether one goal is more difficult than the other is a different question. A goal is a goal regardless of the league that it is scored in.
Are you saying, Will, just to bring it back to football, every single time that we should have an argument about who's a better player, do we want Jed Spence to play in front of Doherty versus Emerson Royale? Do we have to, as a panel, every single time start with an hour debate around what do we assess, what do we agree on? Is there a consensus on what does better look like? Or are we allowed to have an opinion without having to go through
that? If we have a consensus, if there's not a disagreement about the consensus, for example, if me
I don't remember anybody ever when we've had the conversations. Who do you want starting on the right wing back spot?
Well, that's just an opinion. That's who do you want, right?
Yeah.
For example, who you want, right? This is the only time that this matters is if I say I think Harry Kane or Son Heung-min's a better player than Harry Kane, and somebody says, "What? No, you're wrong." Okay. When you say somebody else is wrong, now if you say, I disagree with you, well, I think Harry Kane's a better player than Son, right?
Someone's wrong.
So when you say someone else is wrong, it now leaves the realm of opinion and is now an argument. And once you have an argument, logic rules.
I know,
right?
I know.
Yes.
But there's sometimes common sense.
Talking about science, though, bro. You know what I mean? But anyway, it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, it's about football in the day. And at the end of the day,
so when are you going to take me to school? Because I just drove you on a big giant yellow bus.
No, Bob. Mr. Box Office. Bob. You, like I say, you can't go down those roads with Mr. Box Office, Bob, because you're out of it in 2 seconds, Bob. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, like I said, like Harry Kane has ruled this team for a long time, bruv. So there's no argument there, bruv. So this rubbish about Son, yes, he's come to the party, yes, and it's about Kane and Son, yeah. But like everybody going on about, Son's better than Harry Kane. I'm sorry, the two, it doesn't make no sense. Harry Kane makes this team look good, bruv. Let's just say that, bruv, and let's leave it like that, bruv. You know what I mean? Simple as that, man. You know what I mean? Don't give me about statistics. Bruv,
yeah. So does every effect have a cause?
Whatever.
Listen, Will, listen, mate. The general feedback in the comments are that this conversation is boring as hell.
Of course it is, because you have to the people who like to reject reality, it's boring.
Okay.
On that note, I'm going to make a move.
So I asked if you wanted me to come on and debate this. That's why I came on, was to talk about this. So
I've got to start getting ready for my surprise night out. So
enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it.
So you're happy your honeymoon. What is it? Your anniversary?
No, yeah, it was like I said, it was my birthday and anniversary, the 22nd of June, and I was back in London, so we didn't get to spend my birthday and anniversary together. So we're doing that tonight, but I have absolutely no idea where we're going. I just know I've got to dress up smart. So
nice. Congratulations, Brian. By the way, congratulations,
cheers, brother.
But I just want to land this, and then I'm gonna bounce, right? And the way that I'm landing this is, if you just want to enjoy the game with your feelings, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Nobody's saying that you can't enjoy the game. You can't think one thing is spectacular in your own opinion. Have your own opinions. Have your feelings and emotion. Just don't shit on other people and tell them they're wrong based off your feelings, right? I
agree with that.
If you're going to say someone else is wrong, actually come with reality, right?
I agree with that.
That's my only thing. Stats are shit. They're junk. They're stupid. All I need is my 2 eyes. You're shitting on reality. There's no point in saying that. Just say, I prefer to watch the game. I don't care about the stats. The stats are what they are. I don't care. And then be on with it. You don't need to shit on other people because you don't understand it. That's all I'm saying.
It's all good, Will. I love you. I absolutely love you to pieces, mate. You're an absolute gem. You were on the show. I got so much positive feedback about the show the other day when you were bringing up about Daniel Levy's spending. Absolutely delicious. And Brian, just stay there for 1 second, Will. Brian, I know you got to go, man. I'm gonna let you go, mate. Your links in the chat. Tottenham on tour. Tell everyone what's coming up.
Yeah, mate. There is a lot, and I do mean a lot coming up. The main thing I want to talk about really is we did a little video. A couple of days that we released, we're doing a brand new show called Everywhere You Go, where we're basically going to get fan clubs from all around the world to come on. This will be a pre-recorded 20-30 minute thing where we're going to talk about how they became a member, official supporters group, what they do for their membership, do they do anything with the community, but also the good bits, where's the nearest pub, where you all go, videos of all that, and just have a general chat about, because there's so many fan clubs around the world, and people even going to England or coming abroad might want to go watch a game in a pub with Spurs fans, but don't know where they are. So we've got responses. All right, Toronto Spurs are obviously going to be first, but we have had responses from about 6 in America, Senegal, Australia, Malta, Austria. They're flooding in. So it's a new show we're about to do called Everywhere You Go, which will be a lot of fun. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of new shows coming Tottenham on Tour's way. So everyone on the panel, love you all. Have a great weekend.
Love you, mate.
Everyone in the chat.
Go get laid, bro.
Have a great weekend. Mate,
Congratulations.
I'm shaving my hair and my...
Get the manscaped out, man. Get the manscaped out.
One other show I've got to know. A couple people may know what the show's about, but there's going to be a vlog that comes out on Thursday, and it's going to be called It's Happened Again. I'm not going to say what's happened again, but it's going to be a very funny show. And also, it's going to end up at the Scotland Yard with me having an alcohol-free beer, because Thursday is the exact day I go 14 years sober. So it's going to be a very big...
Thursday might become the first day that I go.
Congrats.
One day sober.
It's going to be a good day for Thursday. So look out for a very, very good show Thursday. But like I said, have a great weekend, everyone. Speak to you later. I love you all. Ta-da.
Enjoy it, mate.
Very fun.
Absolutely awesome. Kuva, I know you need to go as well, don't you, mate?
I do. Got to get the kids off to their mums.
Yeah,
so.
we're gonna wrap it up. Kuvi Groove, what channel, mate? Thanks so much for coming on, my man. What channel would you like me to plug for you, my buddy?
Well, Bob Spurs as usual.
Bob Spurs, where is that? Bob Spurs?
In the wall, but
Here we go.
Got to say big up to Will for coming on anyway, because he always takes a load of heat. He always stands his ground. You've got to admire that.
Oh, on this channel, Will doesn't get a lot of heat. Will gets.
I'm getting a lot of heat in the comments right now. People telling me that I'm talking shit, that I'm an idiot, that I'm a hypocrite.
Today, maybe.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you're always well received on here.
Dare anybody who has anything bad to say about me to come on the show and say it to my face, or my show. But you won't.
Will, everyone loves you, buddy. Everyone loves you, my man. You're an absolute superstar. But Koo, thank you so much, man. What's happening on SpursTalkShow tomorrow? Give a little plug for it.
In the wall, usual amount of craziness. Start off with a bit of football talk, and then quickly degenerates into just a sort of free for all drunken mess of a program. Really, it's the kind of thing you start watching when you do get home from the pub and you don't want to go to bed. You don't want to go to bed yet. So a bit of fun on there. Hoping to help Bob get to his target of £3,000 raised for the NHS after his charity drives recently. If whatever he does raise by August the 15th, I think is the cut-off point, it will be doubled by a very, very generous collection of people that have agreed to do just exactly that. So that's why I think 3,000 is a nice round figure to double up to £6,000 for the NHS. So big up the Bob Spur, and hopefully people will come along, chuck a couple of quid in. His links are all on over Twitter as well as on YouTube. And I don't know if you got the link for the actual donations bit, or anything's good. Just check out Bob Spur TV anyway.
Yeah, I haven't got it's at Bob's. I'm gonna put the wrong one in. I haven't got the link for it.
At Bob Spur TV, NHS, I think.
NHS. Okay, I'll put it in here now. Anyone who's got any spare change, get over to PayPal at Bob Spur TV NHS, and if you can, add a couple of, like, rather than buying a coffee tomorrow, buy this man a donation towards his NHS fund.
And make sure you add like little pence on there too. He loves that. Like, £3, 13 pence. He loves it.
Cool.
He ruins his thing.
88 pence. That works well as well.
Thank you so much, Coob. Really appreciate it. Sebastian Wolf, I'm sorry I didn't call it out. I did bring it up, but I think it was the middle of the debate. You're going to go take a nap. that was hard.
It's 3 p.m., man. It's 3 p.m. where I'm at. I don't know why I take a nap. So.
I thought he was saying he's going to go take a nap. Like, I'm going to go. I will take it. Okay, whatever. Either way, Sebastian, I really appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much for the super chat. James, buddy, sorry, man. You came on at the kind of like the I don't know. Just if you came on like an hour before or half an hour before, we would have got much more detail in.
Is what it is, guys. Is
come
what
on
it
again,
is.
my man. What's happening on Spurs related, buddy?
Oh, we're talking about football, not about definitions. So crack straight over to Spurs related. No, jokes aside. We're doing a watch along tomorrow. First watch along for a little while, but I know you're doing one, Sean, so I'm not going to grab your viewers. Don't you worry about that. We've had quizzes coming up. We've got a lot of good comments about the quizzes. We've had Spurs Talk Show via We Are Tottenham TV. The finals coming on that soon. Everyone's absolutely loving those ones. We've got vlogs coming up for the season. We've got numerous people going to the games. We've got obviously the general transfer talks and everything else. And yeah, the channel's growing quite nicely with 9 off 1.2K. So yeah, if you guys could go and hit a sub, that would make my day.
Awesome, James, mate. Please come back again from the start or from an hour in or something when there's more Spurs stuff. Mate, I love you to pieces. Get over there. The link is in the chat, guys. Get over to James Spurs Relations. It's a fantastic channel. Absolutely fantastic channel. And they are.
I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry for today. I came on with this purpose, and you just happened to be on with that.
It's all right, mate. I hope the arguments back made it a bit more interesting. But there you go.
Yeah, you guys went toe to toe for it.
I love arguing, dude. Yeah, I don't get mad either. People think I get upset, but I don't. I might get ranty. I mean, that's my name. That's what I do.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's great. It's all good. It's all good. Like, guys, before I finish up this, we're only like 20 likes away from 200. If there's anyone there's still 190, still 200 people watching. If any of you haven't yet hit the like button, do me a favor and just tap it, massage it, brutalize it, abuse it, do whatever you got to do in any way you want. I don't mind. You can assault it in a way that would get some police attention if you like, but just hit that like button for me so we can get over 200 before the show finishes. And I really appreciate that. Alex, my man, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. What is happening on your channel? What's the crack, my man? I've got your link here for us. Thank you for coming on, buddy. Love you to pieces as well. Tell me, what's going on?
Hopefully have some streams coming on soon. But yeah, that's all I can say at the moment. I might do one tonight, but again, it depends on stuff really. There's lots of things going on, but hopefully during the season have some few things going on and stuff. I will have some things, videos anyway, because there'll be things that will be on my mind that needs to be said anyway. You know what I'm like, especially with Mr. Box Office. He's when he gets a bit fed up, he needs to say some stuff and cause some fires, like they say. You know what I mean? And then it doesn't care, like they say, because I don't really care. Really, it's just my opinion. That's it, as far as I'm concerned. And you know. Simple as that, you know.
Yeah, love you, mate, as well. Always welcome. All of you are always welcome on here. And Will, by absolute no means least, my man. I love you, mate. Thank you for coming on, bro. And I don't, please don't take it.
I don't take anything personal, man. The only time I take things personal is when people lie about what I say. That's the only thing that makes me like really mad, like honestly mad.
You made me fall in love with stats, so
yeah. Look, for me, to be honest with you, I don't even like stats that much as it is, right? I just like being right. It's true.
I can get on board that train any day you like, bro.
So for me, I mean, that's just, I am educated enough. I'm not even gonna say smart. I study a lot of this stuff. Like, look, it's not fair. Like, I literally debate PhDs on philosophy on Discord. So Alex is, I don't like beating up on Alex. Too bad.
Don't say that.
But what I'm saying is,
I'm just laughing because I'm all game. But
the only reason why I mention that is because what I'm saying is I just don't like it when people like the whole negativity thing, or like people, like if you mention a stat, people just automatically shit on you. Oh, stop talking about the stats. Well, why? It could be a relative point, right? There's no reason to do that, right? And I understand people are just being goofy or whatever, but that's like why when people start to take dumps on other people, that's when I get very particular on the words being used, right? Because now if you're going to be negative, at least be negative for the right reason. Don't just do it just to make other person feel bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and no, I'm not a big deal. Anybody who wants to can go on Discord and debate with doctors about philosophy. I can tell you, just DM me and I'll give you 30 servers. You can go talk to people if that's the way you like to do. Doesn't mean you're big time, right? It's Discord. It's not. But anyway, all I'm saying is, look, if you have an opinion, just say, if I'm not certain on something, I'll just say, I think it's my opinion. I don't know. I don't have a justification. I don't have a reason for it, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. The only time I'll go in on somebody is if I know for a fact. That's it.
Listen, I love it. I've learned to appreciate stats. I love stats. And Will, I know you're coming out from the best place possible. And I'm on board with it. I just think that there is, to summarize, I just think that there are, there's like when you came on saying the kind of the definitions and things, I was like, I don't think we need to go down that kind of there's common sense, right?
It's not common sense though. But
there can be common sense. Okay, either way, we'll just do this another show, a dedicated show, which I'd like to be a part of, maybe on your channel or mine, on what we can figure it out.
Because we'll do it on mine. The people over there are used to it.
All right, guys, we're 3 hours, 23 minutes in.
Yeah, we had a fun one a couple of weeks back, on Will's channel, debating if it was an advantage to be a tall or a short player.
That's right.
And
yeah.
That was fun. It just went on for ages.
Listen, I love it as well. I do absolutely love it as well. I think, and to be honest, the time of the week, we'd almost cleared through all the content anyway. I feel a little sorry for James because James came on at the same time and I wanted to.
I don't feel sorry for me. I'm a Tottenham fan.
I know. It's no problem. It's all good. I love everybody. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. I'm Renee. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And guys, tomorrow we're going to be back here at 2 o'clock.
1:45 you scheduled it for.
1:45. 1:40. There you go. Scheduled for 1:45 for the watch on the pre-match. We've got Adam William Cahill. I hope Coover as well for the pre-match watch along, the pre-match and the watch along, and then the post-match fan show. Any member, anyone who wants to come in and have their rant and say what they think about the Rangers game, please stop by. It's going to be awesome. I love you all. I love you, Alex. I love Coover. I love James. I love Will. I love Nick. And I love Brian. And lastly, I want to say a quick thank you to Dermatron, to the new member, Philo, to Wolves, to Carl Higgins, the new member, to Will, my man, in the comment, he's still in the panel, to the 13th man, to Will again, mate, massive one, thank you so much, to Lazy 8, my boy Nick, please reach out to me, I need to speak to you, to Sebastian Wolf, and to Philo once again. Love you all and everyone in the comments. Hope you have a wonderful Friday night. Get up to something naughty. If you can't be safe, be dirty. If you can't be dirty, be dangerous. That's what they're going to say. Love you all. As always, guys. As always. Oh, bye.